Yeah. Head up in the clouds, dog, they saying I look stressed. I've been feeling down, pray to God that I'm up next. Remember when she blew me off, that's why I can't text. Now she call me petty, but I swear I can't forget. This ain't a test. Now they saying that I ball like Jerry West. Coming back for what is mine, can't take no less. I said go and take a shot, so I need your best. And stop the threats, don't know what is in me. I don't got time, I'm not giving the energy. Too many people around me, I'm finicky. I do not mess with you, dog, you not kidding me. You don't got way too close. I been up at the top now, so they all wait for the landslide. I seen too many people that switched up, whose man's high. Through it all, I stay the same, I swear to God, I can't lie. Been down so damn low that I came up for my life. They talk way too much on the internet, it's not real life. I swear my fam waiting, I can't lose and I'm still right. Still right, I swear that I'm working them up till like midnight. It's real life, I got a time and I'm coming to get mine. In time, I cannot lose and I'm coming right inside. I'm in my, yeah.
Motherfucking intro. I'm just trying to get that money like 1-0-0-0-0-0-0-0-0-0. I'm here with Gino.
Hey, Danger, coming with them bangers. Tell me where my paper. Still on the same mission, trying to live major. Don't hate me, hate the game. I'm a player. Feeling like Pac. Represent. On my block, try to knock me down, but I come up on top. Yeah, they wanna see me flop. Got a plot, want a lot, I won't stop on my pops. Got so many flows, it's insane. They don't really understand the game. Got a plan and it's plain, I ain't playing. I'm just trying to gain. I wanna get that big bag, need that big Rex. Blow up Tic Tac with a blue cheese at. I don't give a fuck about your feedback. Eat that, get back, sit back, watch me spit that kickback. Got so many flows, yeah, they think that I'm insane. Ghetto kids in a lot of pain, all about the bills, ain't shit changed. Danger, coming with them bangers. Tell me where my paper. Still on the same mission, trying to live major. Don't hate me, hate the game, I'm a player. If you a hater, I don't hate you. I'm just really happy that I ain't you. I just wanna thank you. You kept me motivated, so now I motivate you. There's a lot of cake, money on my mind like a banker. Coming through with them bangers, ain't no room for mistakes. Lot of stake, hustle till we get a lot of rooms, lot of stakes. Good kid, but I keep it gangsta. All gas, no brakes. Got cash for the case. More cash in the case. More cash in the safe. More cash on the way. Hustling all day. Ay. Danger, coming with them bangers. Tell me where my paper. Still on the same mission, trying to live major. Don't hate me, hate the game. I'm a player.
Danger, coming with them bangers. Where my fucking paper.
Said I'm taking big shots, just stop where I'm driven, no pit stops. This hot, I ain't playing like a 6 spot. Pissed off, thought I told him this a chip shot. I ain't missing cause you know I'm taking big shots. Just stop where I'm driven, no pit stops. This hot, I ain't playing like a 6 spot. Pissed off, thought I told him this a chip shot. I ain't missing cause you know I'm taking big shots. They been trying to get me cheap like a thrift shop, but I told them it's my time, check the wristwatch. They been talking way before they even doing something. Whoa. If they wanna play, let's get a tip off. Ain't no silver lining, dawg, this some rose gold. Getting new money, I'm a old soul. Yeah, I get it bouncing like a pogo. Whoa. And I'm too cold like Frozone. And my chick Elastigirl. Told him we ain't in the faking, this ain't plastic, girl. Bought a new whip and cash, now my taxi thorough. Way I'm shooting like step with my passes, bro. The way I'm playing the field, I'm in a league of my own. And now they all in their fields, I got them all on my phone. But dog, I'm hitting the climb, I got no time on the low. Way I'm shooting is messy, the way I'm hitting the goals. I'm taking big shots, just stop. Way I'm driven, no pit stops. This hot, I ain't playing like a 6 spot. Pissed off, but I told him this a chip shot. I ain't missing cause you know I'm taking big shots. Just stop, way I'm driven, no pit stops. This hot, I ain't playing like a 6 spot. Pissed off, but I told him this a chip shot. I ain't missing cause you know I'm taking big shots.
Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Ayy, on the road, here we go, here we go. Yeah, we winning by a landslide. Never see me coming on my landmine. Yeah, I ain't taking orders in command like. Yeah, you about to see me on demand like. You know on demand. If you ain't know, you about to understand. Yeah, I got the team by my side, right hand. Yeah, take it to a string, you ain't seen it like that. Yeah, and it's the dream, and we coming for the bag. Yeah, and we ain't ever going back now. Future expedited, now we on the fast track now. They won't lend a hand, now they see us on the map now. It's time to act out. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Ayy, on the road, here we go, here we go. Yeah, at the top of the class on a roll. Ayy, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Yeah, maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Yeah, on the road, here we go, here we go. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Ayy, on the roll, here we go, here we go. Yeah, at the top of the class on a roll. Ayy, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Yeah, maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Yeah, on the roll, here we go, here we go. Here we go. On a roll, here we go, here we go.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Frankie Candles live stream. Bitcoin attempting to break out here above our value area high. We are currently tapping against a golden pocket. Are we about to see the big move up to $80,000, guys? We're going to break it down on today's live stream. We're live a little bit early today as we got a lot to talk about. We did have the daily money flow coming into the green, indicating we could see the trend continue to the upside. And here we are, sitting at that value area high. We're going to talk about the probabilities of a potential breakout, what I'm looking for next here on price action, and, of course, we'll take a look at those key levels of support as well. So shout out to the CandleMafia. Thank you guys for tuning in. We got Quiet SP in the chat. What is going on, bro? Welcome in. We got Cranky Fandles, V-Troll, Flipper Frank, Vision in the chat. What is up, brother? We got Panda the Prophet said, lock in, Mafia, lock in. This is our moment. This is our moment. But shout out to Panda. We got Krisha Mella in the chat. Said, make sure you like and subscribe or Jesse will spank you. I would like to clarify that. Nobody's going to get spanked in the chat. I don't think, at least. But shout out to the Critchamel in the chat. Servando Estrada, welcome in. 420 stream, 12 days away. Shout out to Chris. Are we going to do a 420 stream? What day is it going to be? Is it a weekend? I don't know. Maybe we'll do a 420 stream. But yeah, we got H-Bar Moonboy. Welcome in. And Meek Vision. What is going on, bro? I don't think we're running any mods right now. Everybody, please behave themselves. Okay, shout out to Tony D. Tony D is here. Let's see. I'm back. 3-month break, but I'm back. Shout out to Darius. Welcome in, bro. Hey, it was like you were never gone. So are we shorting or what? Shout out to Mr. Terral. Yeah, we're going to talk about that right now. I'm going to talk about those key levels. We're pushing into one of them right now, and we got a lot to talk about today, guys. So without further ado, we got the Aztecian Cactus Black Starbucks coffee here. Let's go ahead and jump on into the charts. Let's get into it. All right, so here we are, guys. Taking a look at the volume profile, and as you guys know, as we were bang-bonging around in this range, on Monday's live stream, we were looking at specifically our daily money flow coming up here, looking to cross over into the green. And we have now crossed over into the green. This did give us the anticipation of potentially looking for higher lows and higher highs. And if you watched Monday's market update, you will know that we were looking at this golden pocket 786 POC anchored VWAP confluence as kind of the best level to put that higher low in at. This is what we were looking at in the premium Discord in case some people were not holding the longs from the lows. Probably going to be an opportunity to look for that bounce there at the POC/confluence. And of course, we did come down into that level perfectly. We tapped into it. We got the bounce. And then, of course, looking with the daily money flow continuing into the green, looking for the continuation of the uptrend, looking to take out this high and push into our next major target around $72,000. Between 71 and 72K. So we are technically, we could drag this box down here to the major resistance, but I am just going to mark it off here at the golden pocket. We also did have a weekly up here that we have tapped as well. So the question is, now that we have made it up to the top of this range, guys, are we going to finally be able to get the breakout here, that last test of $74,000? And then once we get above $74,000, of course, in my opinion, that is going to be the thing that is going to hold us back. Once flipped, that will open the door for a much bigger push to the upside, targeting between about $78,000 and $81,000. Now, I will say from a money flow perspective, guys, this does look pretty good for that overall continuation. Even on the previous live streams talking about, once we get up here, if that money flow is coming into the green, even if we do have to see some cool-offs, if that money flow is continuing into the green, we can continue to look for higher lows and higher highs. We'll cover this local support underneath us right now. But at the end of the day, guys, money flow is coming up. Money flow indicates the overall trend, as we say every single live stream. Money flow indicates the overall trend, right? This is literally how we were able to look at this being the major key level to look for another bounce before continuing the uptrend. Because, of course, as we see some local bearish divergences, we can look for that pullback, but not all pullbacks are created equal, right? This pullback would be more in the view of a lackluster pullback for a potential higher low to eventually take out that high. And that was our plan here in the premium Discord. Let me see if I can pull it up. Literally looking at that. Here it is. Looking at that exact level at the PLC Golden Pocket. This is just a pretty place to look for that higher low, guys. If you're going to be looking for the higher lows, in my opinion, they are very likely to come in at the Golden Pocket 786. And then just with the anchor VWAP confluence, with the POC being the major level within the profile, of course, going from low to POC. As long as we stay above that POC, we can look to go to the high for a full rotation of that volume profile. Of course, not super, very high probability to see that happen, especially with the money flow coming up. But just to kind of give you guys an idea of why we looked for that, it's very simple, right? One of my main purposes of being up here is to teach and show you guys how we're able to find this stuff. And here we are, sitting up here at the value area high. Now, the question that everybody wants to know is, are we getting the bigger breakout? Are we going to nuke back down? Are we going below 60K? And at the end of the day, guys, like I said, I'm treating this as a volume profile. Now, of course, we have come up into the major resistance, Golden Pocket. We had the weekly MPOC. I believe we had a anchored VWAP not sitting there. Did we have, hang on one second here. Yeah, we did have we do still have the anchor VWAP sitting up here, starting at about 73.3, and then of course this does come all the way up to about $74,000. This is the level, guys. If you're going to mark off one level to the upside, this is the level that, in my opinion, if broken and held as support, this is where you see those God candles start to come in, and that does have a big, the big reason I am going to be looking at that is, of course, right, we talked about how this was tested once, twice, 3 times. That fourth test, guys, we've kind of tapped on the bottom of the range a lot and then tapped on the top of the range a lot. But with the way money flow looks like right now, if that daily money flow continues into the green, we are simply going to anticipate that trend to continue to the upside. And this money flow coming up on the daily is not something we had on any of these other tests up here, right? If I pull up the daily, you can see here every other test, although we did have the low volume gap above, money flow is just, clean in the red here at this point, right? Money flow indicating that overall trend, right? We start to build a base here. We bing bong around. Money flow starts coming up. I do think if we test that 74K level for a fourth time, this is our best chance to get above it, right? Because again, even if you have to retest and come back up, right, that money flow is going to indicate the overall trend. So, it'd be really exciting if we could come up and test that $74,000 level. I do think it has a higher chance of breaking than it did up here. And of course, when we take a look at our visible range volume profile, you guys all know, did I click that too fast? There we go. You guys do know, right? Like once we get above here, you can just see on the volume. Here is the high-ish volume node. But once we get above that, right on the 786, once we get above that, you have a pretty big fall off in volume until, this is why I say if we break above here, it's probably going to be a very fast move to the upside, just like it was a very fast move to the downside. And this technically, right, would be looked at as more of a local level. It is here. We have 2 daily MPOCs on this level. Daily MPOC at 78,174, and then that last daily MPOC sitting up here at about 81K. So that's going to be kind of a pit stop within our larger low volume gap, which technically does lead us up to like $86,000. You can see that gap right here. Price action likes to stick to the high volume nodes. You can see here. You can see here. Right, and then we knew once we broke below this gap, we would, or below into this gap below these lows, we would very likely see that fast capitulation down. Made a ton of money on those shorts, and it's going to be the same way on the way back up. Potentially, if we can get above these high volume nodes, get above that 786, bada boom, first pit stop, and then after that, right, 786 sits at 84, and then that higher volume node sits at around 86, I would say, to about $90,000, right? So just looking at like simple auction market theory, guys. Price, if we imbalance out of this value area, it is very likely that we are going to gravitate towards previous value, which sits up here, and that obviously lines up with your low volume gaps. Break up here, right? Fast move to go seek out that area of value. So looks pretty good, in my opinion, guys. Now, I will cover the bearish case as well, and then I want to cover the local levels because obviously, got my alert set here. Up in here, we are kind of working around in a little bit of a local range. We'll cover this. We'll just kind of watch this live, see if we can hit some of the targets. But overall, right, pull up that VPVR once again. Oh, there it is. Overall, right, like daily money flow, in my opinion, at face value, right, this money flow looks, this is what you would want to see for a bigger move to the upside, right? Anytime, we come down, we get a big bounce, oftentimes sometimes have to sit here and be like, hey, up here, we looked at that weekly money flow talking about, hey, guys, is this likely to be a higher high? Absolutely not. Why? Money flow is doing the exact opposite of what you would want to see. But down here, right, when we look for these value areas or these ranges, essentially, just to break out, right, that money flow is definitely on the side of the breakout. So from that perspective, this does look good. Of course, we saw this coming a little bit earlier by looking at the lower time frame money flow, such as the 4-hour. This was another reason why on this pullback, we looked for the higher low and the higher high. Money flows in the green indicates the overall trend. This is a very simple way to view the market and trends in general. Obviously, you could just pay attention to market structure, but this gives you like a good idea, right? Once that money flows in the green, any pullback is going to be looked at as lackluster for higher lows and higher highs. And then all that's left for you to do is to find those areas, which we help you out with greatly, where those higher lows are very likely to form, all right? And then you look for that higher high to come in. So absolutely beautiful, guys. I think the thumbnail, one of the thumbnails last week was 71K incoming, right? 72K incoming next. Here we are. And now today, I think it was 81 incoming next. Hopefully, we can continue that trend and just start nailing these targets. But of course, as always, guys, that's the bullish case. Those are the things that look good. Daily money flow, 4-hour money flow. Even if we look here at the 8-hour, you can see the 8-hour money flow starting to crack back into the green here. 10-hour money flow, come on. Trying to crack back into the green here. 12-hour money flow kind of popping up. And you guys will know this is a little bit confusing down here, right? Because we had the 10 and 12-hour money flow coming out, which would not indicate the continuation of a trend to the upside. But the daily was scooting to the upside. So it was a little confusing down there. But, of course, we just took that daily at face value, continued to hold the long. I am still holding the long from down here, of course. And took a short down here as well. But yeah, just still holding that short, sitting up here at the value area high now for the full rotation of that volume profile. And obviously, we are pushing into resistance right now. So I want to come up in here locally and look at the price action with you guys. First, before I jump back into chat, let me just go ahead and hide this, take this off the chart. Locally here, if we just zoom in, super local, right? We do have a little bit of a range forming here, a little bit of a volume profile being respected very nicely. We came up, we swept this high, got the rotation back into the range, back below the high, back to the PLC, back to the low, and then we just got another super local failed auction back into the range, back to the PLC. So I would say locally right now, guys, over the next hour or so, who knows? Maybe it happens faster. But if we could hold above this PLC, right, the next logical target for me would be about 72,190. And, maybe we kind of range around up here. And I'll cover this live, right? If we come up to the value area high, we'll take a look at the price action. And the next major levels of resistance above us here, obviously we have that tapped weekly that we're rejecting currently. But if we go ahead and pull up, let me zoom out here just a little bit. Pull our Fibonacci retracement from the high to the low, right? I'll take the golden pocket off the chart because we're already tapping into that. You guys can see here, again, 70, I'm going to call it 73.3 to 74K is the next major level of resistance, right? So we'll go 74K down to like 73.3. This is the next major level above us, right? This is the doorway, in my opinion, to break out to $80,000. And with that being said, right, this is going to be the last place, in my opinion, that I'd be looking for a short. So if we do get the push up, right, maybe we just kind of bing bong around in this range. If we get the push back to the upside, this is the last place to look for that rejection, in my opinion, because if we are going to put in a lower high here and get a much bigger drop to the downside, very likely, right, this is going to be the area, 786 golden pocket, just like we looked at the golden pocket 786 down here for the higher low and the higher high. This would be the place to look for the lower, higher low and higher high. This would be the place between the golden pocket and the 786, technically, just to be super accurate, between the golden pocket and the 786. This would be where you would put in that lower high. Now, money flow is not necessarily pointing towards that, right? So because I'm holding the long down here, and the longs are in really nice profit, I don't mind taking a few losses up here. I'm already in a scalp short. Actually, I wouldn't call it a scalp short. It's a smaller position with a big invalidation, right? So I use that smaller position size to control the risk. So I have a lot of room to breathe there on the short. If I see another setup here, I'll either take another short or I'll probably just add to the current short. But if not, that will simply stop me out. Long will continue to pay me out because, again, once we break above that, that long is very likely to pay me out big time, shooting up towards that $78,000 to $80,000 level. So major resistance above, I'd say 73.3 to 74,000. We'll see if maybe we get the pop up today during the live stream. That would be really nice. But until then, right, we are kind of just chopping around here above a value area, right? So in general, when we start playing at these value area highs, right, this is typically where you can do one of many things, right? If we continue to kind of range around here, bada boom, maybe we come back up to the highs, back down to the lows. Really what we do not want to see here is, I'm going to talk about the key levels underneath us, but if we do end up getting an acceptance back into this value area and we cannot get back above the high, that is where I would consider that acceptance, right? Like maybe some 4-hour candle closes, and we just cannot break out of here. We just essentially, just like back here, right? We do not want to get back into the value area. When we broke out here, the biggest level of support was that value area high. Because if we're going to break out of this range, you want to hold on top of here and send it, right? Once you break back in and you cannot get out, the probability becomes much higher, especially when your money flow starts coming out as well, to get back down towards that POC. And then again, we could not break out, back to the POC, back to the full rotation to the low. It's going to be the same thing here. So, like, ideally, in the most bullish case, we do not break back down into this value area. Currently, we are back testing it, and it is currently holding as support. There is one more level that I will be interested in down here. It's kind of just like a simple support resistance flip with some key levels in there as well. But at the end of the day, right now, we're holding on top of that value area high. This is nice. If we break back in, right, there's one more level that I'll be looking to bounce at. I'll talk about it in just a second. But on the way back up, you got to get back above that high, because if you cannot, right, could just see that bigger rotation towards the POC, because this is a deviation above the high. If we see those short confirmations, which we've already gotten last night, and then we came to reconfirm some bear divs up here, if we wind up getting back in here, that's a short setup. I'll be looking to take profit down here. I'll just bring up the key level right now. Right, we do have the golden pocket 786 sitting here between about 70,570 down to about 69.8. You have a previous value area high 786. We also have some single prints down here. So the major zone is going to be this local golden pocket 786. I don't personally want to lose this structure. So if we did have to dip back in here and get a move back out, right, this is the area I would want to hold. Once we lose this, we might have to start talking about the PLC again, right? And then in that case, hopefully we're holding a short from the high. But, you know, just in general, when it comes to the volume profiles, right, we do just look at this as a deviation above the value area high for a potential failed auction, right, depending on how this looks, back into the high for another full rotation down. Now, again, money float is not pointing towards this, right? Money flow, in my opinion, right now is pointing much more, even if we get the pullback, towards a continuation up to at least $74,000. And then, of course, you know, at this point, right, money flow on the daily is still in the green. What does that mean? Any pullbacks are going to be looked at as lackluster pullbacks, higher lows and higher highs, right? So let me zoom in here a little bit. Let's take the major range off the chart. I'm going to pull up these local levels, get rid of the 786. I'm going to take a look at this. Currently holding the POC. So see if we can get that move. Next target will be at this value area high if we can hold above here. Got a red dot about to print on the 10-minute. You know, one thing here, guys, for a potential pullback. So again, if we get a pullback, I'm not really super freaked out. I'll just kind of mark this off the candles. All right, if we can get a pullback here, could be an opportunity for another bounce, right? Again, we do have to be careful around that $71,000 value area high. Or, whoops, there we go, which is going to be confluent with that value area low. So you know what, we could probably just look at this as the local range. There we go, getting the push from the POC. Just mark this out real quick. High, POC, value area low. There we go. All right. Let's see. Did we set the alert there? Yeah, we got the alert there on the value area high. Can we get the full rotation? Well, hey, laws of the volume profile would say yes. And another thing about this level that I actually just saw live on the chart is this is also the value area high of our macro range, right, which is very nice. So right now we're bouncing off of our more local value area high. If we break back down in here, like I said, you have the structure, you have the golden pocket, the 786. You also have some single prints down there, but also, very simply, it is your value area high, the previous range. I think this is a really clean way to look at it. So we'll see here. I'll even take off this tapped weekly to make it nice and simple. Whoops. All right. So we'll see here. All right, I'm going to come check in on chat here. Let me move some of this stuff on my desk so I don't spill it. All right, let's see. 2028 BTC should be back to all-time high. Shout out the Visionary Pulse. I hope so. Sol is a turd right now. I will take a look at Ethereum and Solana as we have gotten a bit of a move here. Solana's a turd. Let's take a quick look at Solana here. What's up with this? Why is there no TA here? There we go. All right, let's see. Yeah, so Solana's still struggling here at the point of control. So yeah, I mean, Solana's just still in this kind of lower ranging context, right? Bitcoin, you know, structurally, it's kind of hanging out up here. But yeah, I mean, these levels remain the same on Solana. You got the value area low. Value area low 786 was that key support. We ended up holding it back into the range. POC is next. Yeah, your 2-hour money flow is coming into the red here. Let's check the 4-hour. Yeah, 4-hour money flow starting to cross green. Daily money flow. I mean, this looks like it's kind of lagging behind Bitcoin, but you do have the daily money flow coming into the green. You got your 4-hour money flow in the green. 8 hours should be following. Yeah, so doesn't look as strong, if I'm being totally honest. But you got the red dot looking to come in. Inverted momentum wave, or I'm sorry, inverted money flow wave here. So I would say for Solana, right, your goal here is to let's pull this new fib. Yeah, I would say your goal here on Solana ideally is to hold above this golden pocket value area low. This could drag down to the 786. I would prefer not to revisit this. But just inside the volume profile, right? You go from the low, reclaim, POC. If you get the pullback, you just want to really stay inside this range to keep the doorway open to the POC and the value area high. Because remember, it's not always just a beautiful, clean rotation where you go back below the POC, back to the low, right? It's not always that clean. I mean, take Bitcoin, for example, here. Right? You go from the low to the POC, back to the low, back to the POC, back to the low, back above the POC, back to the low. But it's as long as you hold that value area low as support, that keeps the POC open and the full rotation kind of dream alive. So it'd be the same thing here on Solana. I'd be okay with rotations back down to that value area low. But once you lose this 786 sitting at about, I'd call it 78.87, that's where I think you get the bigger breakdown. But as long as you can stay inside here, doorway to the POC is still open, and then doorway, which means the full rotation thought is still there. So that's what I'd be looking at on Solana. Money flow, I mean, it looks like it's just lagging a bit behind Bitcoin, 4-hour and daily coming up. So we'll see what happens there. Let's take a quick look at Ethereum here. And zoom out. So same thing on Ethereum, right? This is kind of that lower range for Bitcoin. We stayed inside the range, came back up to the high. We eventually get the breakout, next major target to seek out this value area low, sitting at about almost $2,300, right? Technically, this starts at about $2,280. But here we are, right? Once you impulse, right? This is just the thought of simple auction market theory. Once you leave this range, right, the next likely place for price to go is to seek out that fair value. It sits right here, and this is not only a value area low, but also the doorway to higher prices, right? If Bitcoin's going to get a big move up and send it to 80K, right? And, money flow-wise, this looks the same as Bitcoin as well. 4-hour money flow in the green, daily money flow crossing into the green, right? So overall, this could be looked at as, I'll take this golden pocket off because we tapped it, right? You still got the 786 sitting up here. On the daily, any pullbacks could be looked at as higher lows and potential higher highs. Once we break this value area low, again, sitting at about, almost $2,300, this would give you the open door, right? Now, this is obviously going to be resistance until proven otherwise, right? But once you flip this, that's what opens up the door up to about, 2630, right? Maybe all the way up to about 2736. Flip the value area low, next likely place for price to go is going to be that POC. So I would say in general, right, we look at these lower time frames, you got some 1-hour money flow coming out. Got some 2-hour bear divs, little 4-hour bear div confirmed here as well. It's pretty much all you got. So you got like bear divs on the 4-hour and down. But, with money flow right now, I'd still be looking at these as like lackluster pullbacks, higher lows, and higher highs. So if we take out this low, I'll tell you what I would like to hold. Just like on Bitcoin, right? You kind of want to stay above this value area. Right, so if we did have to come back down, hopefully, you have a higher low here, right? Maybe we could push back deeper into that level. But if we do have to come back down, I would say this zone sitting here between 2141 and 2096 is going to be the level to hold for a higher low before seeing a higher high, right? Just like on Bitcoin, let me see. Do you have any? Where's your daily MPOC here? Get it right in there. Can we get it? Okay, so you do have a daily MPOC sitting here as well, backing you up, a little backup. So yeah, I'd say between about 2083 to 2141, that's the big level that you would want to stay on top of, right? Once you get accepted back, let me just delete this. Once you get back below this level, right, you're getting accepted into the range, lose the POC, right? Well, I'll be looking to head back down to the low. So this is your big support on Ethereum. If you have to get a bigger pullback, that's what I would like to hold. And just like on Bitcoin, like why am I even interested in this for a bounce? Well, it has to do with the money flow coming up, right? If that money flow is coming up, I'll be looking for those bounces for higher lows and higher highs, just like on Bitcoin, right? Money flow is coming up, specifically on the 4-hour, right? So we could expect a pullback. We took this short, right? We have major resistance up here. We take the short. We make some money. But we know with money flow coming up, it's very likely to be a higher low and a higher high on top of the fact that you're looking to fill that whole volume profile. Where's the higher low likely to come in at? Golden pocket, 786, POC, anchored VWAP, right? Really, the reason I look here is because of the Golden Pocket 786. And, of course, holding that PLC is very important to keep that target open here at the value area high. So there you go. Let's see. Shout out to Zach, said, thanks, Tony. You do a great job also, and the community is awesome, to be honest. Shout out to Zach. Let's go. I don't know what Tony D did, but I'm sure he did a good job. Shout out to Zach, said, when the code is here, we have no fear. Also, since I joined the premium Discord in December 2024, I can honestly say something has changed. Before, it used to break even, now in profit, so thank you a lot. Shout out to Zach. That's what we like to hear, baby. Let's go. Let's go. Zach's out there making some money. Shout out to Tony, said, definitely not about fast money. It's about small, consistent wins, yes, and then they compound over time. And then the fast kind of big money comes later on, and you almost don't realize it, right? Like there's been times where, one time specifically where I got like really upset about getting stopped out in profit, and I got stopped out for like $3,000 in profit, and I was like, I had to like kind of put things into perspective and be like, man, like I used to dream that my trades would make $3,000. Now I'm mad because I got stopped out in $3,000 of profit, right? Like, why am I upset about that? And it kind of just like hits you, but like you don't realize until you start looking back, right? Because like as you move forward, right? Let's say you start making $1,000 on average a trade, right? If you make $500 on a trade, you kind of feel like, right? Then when you're making $10,000 on a trade, $5,000 on a trade starts feeling right? So it's not until you start looking back and be like, wow, when I started this, I was happy to make $50. So you kind of lose sight of it sometimes. Shout out to Christian, said, general question, imagine taking a trade from the all-time high or very low. Aren't the fees going to be very high after holding a trade for a long time, maybe 2 to 3 years? Could you please explain? I mean, yeah, I mean, you could potentially pay a lot in fees, hopefully less than you're making on the trade. Very often less than you're making on the trade. But yeah, the way I see fees is a cost of doing business, right? I don't generally hold trades for like multiple years, at least leverage trades for multiple years. I kind of just look to hold my spot bags that long. Like I've held, if you want to call them trades, for a long time, right? I've held from down here to up here. But I don't really usually hold my leverage trades that long. So I don't really have any like specific experience to draw from on that. But yeah, I mean, you could potentially pay a lot in fees, but very often less than you would be paying, or less than you would be making on the trade. Waiting for 74K to short. If we break out to 84 to 86K, I'm long, though. Hey, shout out to Zeus. That's what I like to hear, bro. Nice work. Nice work. The way Frankie hedges shorts and longs, take the emotion out of the trades and just prints money. Since I learned his way, all I can say is this is my new job. Shout out to Zach. That's the goal, right? My goal is to help you guys not have to clock into a normal job if that's not what you want, right? If you have a normal job, you like your job, that's great. But yeah, I know a lot of people would rather make money on their own time. That's my goal, right? I want to teach you how to be a self-sustained independent trader, right? You're not relying on anybody else. You're not relying on customers. You're not relying on you're not even relying on like, customers, or you could say like, well, sometimes Bitcoin goes sideways. Well, we just trade that sideways price action, right? So it's like nothing really holding you, nothing controls you, right? It's like literally trading is total freedom. Shout out to Austin, said I made more than my weekly paycheck in the first 2 days. Hey, shout out to Austin. That's that. Let's go, bro. That makes me feel good. We're doing our job in the premium, baby. Let's go. Thank you for sharing the wisdom. Shout out to Crypto Owl, a very wise animal. Shout out to you, brother. That's what we're here for. I want out of my job. Teach, brother, teach. Shout out to Quiet SP. Hey, bro. We're here, man. We're here. Hopefully you're the next one. Hopefully, Quiet SP. If you do quit your job for trading, I'd never recommend quitting your job to learn how to trade, right? Because learning how to trade can be a very grueling experience in the beginning, and all quitting your job before being profitable is going to do is kind of add a lot of emotion into your trades, right? I think like the worst place to learn trading from is from a place of desperation. I've had people come in here and tell me, Frankie, I quit my job and I lost. I went on tilt. I'm like, my account's dying. You got to find me a setup. I need to make all my money back right now. And at that, on those kinds of chats, I'm like, you need to get off the charts right now, because that is, operating from that frame is just like the quickest way to blow up your account. Let's see. Shout out to Mr. Terrell, says, what do you think about shorting at 72K? I don't have an open trade as of right now. I mean, if there is some kind of a setup up here, right, for me personally, I have a very small short position open. Let me just. So there's many different ways you could kind of handle these trades up here, guys. Come on. All right, so like from a kind of long-term, a full perspective here, 786, around $74,000, like this is your invalidation, right? Now, how you handle this trade is going to be, there's going to be a lot of personal preference, right? Because at the end of the day, if, let's just say you take the short here, I'm holding a short from the SFP from last night, right? But it is a smaller position size, right? Because this is like a 2.5% stop loss. It's a pretty big stop loss. So I lower my position size to kind of account for that extra percentage on the stop loss, right? So yes, if we come up here, I'm not going to get stopped out for a while. Price is going to go against me pretty big time here. But it's a smaller position size, right? So it kind of evens out, if that makes sense. But that's really the invalidation, right? If we break above 74K, right? Well, I want to get out of that trade because we're probably going to get that bigger breakout. So if we bing bong around up here, if I get another setup here, I'm personally probably just going to add to my short if I have the setup. If not, I'll just sit in the trade and either get stopped out or it'll turn back around. So it really depends on how you want to handle it. Another way you could kind of handle this is you could view this as like a separate zone with your invalidation above the high. We've already gotten 30-minute bearish divergences. We got the SFP, right? So you can see here, you have the lower highs on your momentum waves, technical higher highs on your price, SFP. If you think that's the high, right, you can view this as two different areas of resistance, right? So when I look at this within the context of the overall volume profile, actually, I'll just hide this real quick because I'm going to pull these back up. Right, here's your major resistance, right? We can potentially chop around up here, right? Kind of similar to this, right? You get above that value area, you kind of chop around, and then once you get accepted back into the range, it starts to play out big time. So that invalidation there really is above the 786. And then if this is good, the idea here is that this is going to be a lower high, so technically your target can be to break structure to the downside, right? So you'd be looking to potentially go below 60K, right? So from like a kind of like more of a swing perspective, it's not a bad risk to reward. However, you're going to have a smaller position size to account for that bigger stop loss. So, but the reason this is, in my opinion, okay, right, is because you're anticipating, right, if this is going to play out, it could potentially be a very big move, right? So that small position size isn't really a big deal because you're looking for a very high percentage move, right? You're looking for almost a 20% move to the downside. Now, this is honestly not often the case that I'm in, right? More often than not, I am looking at price more like this, right, where I have my first kind of zone of resistance. I look to take that short, right, with a tighter stop loss, bigger position size, and then if I get that second ride up, right, I'll just look for another separate setup up here. The reason I did it this way was because I entered this trade at night. I was going to go to sleep shortly after, and I didn't want to wake up to just being, like, wicked out if we ended up getting some kind of, like, crazy volatility and then dumping to the downside. So kind of a personal preference there on how you want to handle that. But yeah, so, if we get that move up to 72K, right, I would probably be more inclined. All right, you could just look to trade this local range, which, by the way, how is this looking here? Let me drag this into a folder here so I don't have to keep doing this separately. All right, so we're still cooking on top of this PLC. Man, you got these VWAPs coming down. Are we going to tap this thing or what? Looking a little shady there. But yeah, I mean, you could just view this as your local range. Right? You already got, you also have your weekly up here, which has already been tapped once. So yeah, I mean, if we came back up to 72K value area high, you know, you could potentially, I would personally view that back into the value area, down to the POC, lose that, back down to the value area low, and then you could potentially hold a portion of that for the bigger swing down. Not here to give the exact setups or anything like that, but we do that more in the premium. But yeah, I mean, it's resistance. But again, right, like in that case, at this point, would probably view that. Where's our... Yeah, I'd probably have a tighter stop loss on that because then if we break up, I would probably just wait for 74K. So not going to give you an exact setup here, but I mean, it would be a valid value area rotation. Yo, shout out to Jason Casper in the chat, said, yo, I'm streaming your stream on my stream. We're crossing streams. Shout out to Jason. I'll cross streams with you any day, brother. Just don't look. Just don't look. You got to look away. You got to look away. Just, you know, hands down. And don't make eye contact either. We'll have to look separate ways. So you look this way, I look that way, and then we'll just kind of hope that we cross. Don't hit my leg, though. Don't hit my leg. Shout out to Jason Casper. Welcome in, brother. Welcome in. And shout out to the Jason Casper chat, I guess, if I'm live on your stream. I don't think we've ever been streamceptioned yet. Shout out to Mind Exploded. Yeah, we're swingers, we're crossers. I mean, hey, we're free spirits. We're free spirits out here. Don't cross streams. Sometimes you gotta. And hey, sometimes you cross streams you don't even know, right? You don't even know. Good Lord. Shout out to I don't know what that says. Shout out to Khan. Says, Frankie, I was losing money when I had a job. I was playing around over trading. Now I'm an independent contractor. Money is tight, some weeks negative, but not losing money and scalping now. Hey, shout out to Khan. You're not losing money. Then that's good. Like I always say, right? Like for me personally, at least, like my trading journey, hopefully does not look like your trading journey. Hopefully I can help you not have your trading journey look like mine. But I was doing everything the opposite way you're supposed to, right? I got into trading. I wanted to get rich quick. I was over leveraging, no stop losses, just gambling on the charts. And to be honest, I would say even when I started actually putting money on the line, I was actually still pretty good at TA. The whole trading skill, right? Trading and TA go together, right? But they're two separate skills. You could be a great analyst and a terrible trader. That's 100% possible. But I think I was a great analyst, right? But I was just a gambler as far as trading, right? So I was just tanking my accounts, and then eventually I hit the break-even phase. I was in the break-even phase for a very, very long time, and then I started making money. And I think trading's really hard. I've mentioned this before. Trading is one of those things where you can look like you're losing on paper while you're actually making progress, right? Like it is not uncommon. I always tell people, like, does your P&L look like this? Good. So has every profitable trader's P&L at some point look like this, right? You might be making progress, right? You're going to make mistakes. You might have a losing streak or something like that. But you could still be, you have to kind of pay that market tuition to build the skills, the intangibles of a good trader, right? Being a good loser, etc. And then like maybe you just start breaking even. Right now, it doesn't look good, right? You're looking at this like, well, I got into it, I lost money, now I'm just flat. Well, this is actually progress, right? Because obviously breaking even is better than losing money, right? If you get into trading, I hate to say it, but chances are you're probably going to lose money at first. It's part of the game. I lost a lot of money at first, and I kept touching the hot stove. I was looking for anything, right? I was looking for a buy and sell indicator. Trust me, if you're looking for that, it does not exist. But this is actual progress, right? This does not look like progress, but it's actually massive progress. And I think trading is one of those weird things where you can actually look like you're losing on paper, but you're actually like secretly making progress. It's very, very difficult. It's very emotionally and psychologically challenging. So I would say, hey, bro, if you're breaking even, it's better, and you were previously losing money, I would just like make your own kind of trading journey P&L. That looks like this, right? Now you're doing this, right? You're making progress if you're breaking even. You kind of have to separate yourself from the monetary value sometimes. My P&L just started to cross into the green. Green dot printing. Shout out to Austin. Well, we'll see here. We're still holding on top of that POC. See if we can get a ride up into that value area high here. 72,180. It's 15, 12, and 10-minute red dots looking to print. So might get some turbulence there. But if we can stay on top of that POC, see if we can run into that value area high. Let me pull this fib again. Yeah, got the golden pocket up there. Mark this off as kind of the first zone. So we'll see here. Yeah, you got your 1-minute money flow coming out with the 15-minute incoming red dot. All right, we got the alert set. But yeah, I would say overall, guys, right, like medium time frame, separate from the volatility. 4-hour money flow looking pretty good, right? You do have and there is a bear div printing, right? So again, like I said, the way I trade is, let me just drag this in here. All right, at the end of the day, we are pushing into resistance. Technically, we do have this 4-hour bearish divergence. It's a pretty sharp angle. I do like to see these a little bit more, right? Like I'd really like to see that kind of like this into the level. But you do technically have higher highs on your price action, lower highs on your momentum waves. 4-hour bearish divergence is there, 100%. 4-hour red dot printing. Come on. 15-minute money flow. I mean, this is coming back up at this point. But if we do get a cool off there, right, like I wouldn't necessarily, sure, it could turn into a big dump, but that money flow would still make me open to the idea of higher lows and higher highs, right? Maybe this anchored VWAP comes up too. So we'll see. Hopefully we can get some movement here. So we'll see. Can we hit the value area higher? At least the golden pocket. Come on. Splashing. Is what it is, right? What has this turned into, guys? Bear market activities. It's talking about crossing streams. Oh, man. Yo, shout out to Sam, said Frankie and Jason are cooking baby streams. Oh, man. I think it's the wrong kind of stream. There's a CME gap at 69K and 67K is bear div is clear short. Shout out to Tom. Not sure exactly what you mean by that. The daily money flow looks like a clear fake out. I don't know. To be honest, like the only reason I will look for a fake out, it's very difficult to call fake outs on money flow. There's been a couple of times where it's been kind of clear. I always point back to this time. Back here, right? To me, this was a clear fake out into the red. We actually called for this, and I held my long position from down here at 39K. Up into the 70s for that reason, right? Because in general, if this money flow is trending out, right, and you don't know this is happening yet, if that money flow is trending out, you're actually looking for a lower high and a lower low. But we saw this for many different reasons, right? It had to do with the timing of the cycles, the fact that we were knocking on a major door to higher prices into the value area high. I'll even pull up that volume profile because I have it marked here on the chart, right? We had tapped into that POC. We were inside this larger profile looking for the full fill, right? And then just like cyclically for Bitcoin, the bottom had been in. Once we broke above 30K, weekly money flow was already in the green. The bottom was very likely in, and we were looking for that full rotation into the value area high and beyond. But in a bear market, right, you would have to anticipate money flow to spend more time in the red than in the green. So from that perspective, would it be super shocking if this fakes out? Not really, just because you're in a bear market. But at the end of the day, I do still treat these for the most part as at face value, right? Like you have a nice, clean money flow wave, and you're just starting to cross into the green. We've been in the red for, 65 days, right? Might be time to start spending some time in the green. So, could it fake out? I mean, you do have the VWAP coming down, but again, that would potentially indicate, right? Especially if we come up to like 74K and we get the red dot. At that point, if the money flow is still coming into the green, I'd still have to be entertaining higher lows and higher highs. So, can it fake out? Sure. Just really difficult to call those kinds of fake outs. But yeah, like even here, right? I wasn't looking at this as a fake out on the daily. Did this shock me? Absolutely not. But there were many other things on the chart that, obviously up here, a lot of people hated me because we were screaming for lower highs and lower lows, for a big capitulation through the low volume gap to come revisit, right? This was like, I don't want to say not easy, right? But it was very clear. We pull up that big volume gap here. I mean, this is very clear that if you're going to break down below these lows and get accepted into this range, you go back to watch those live streams. It's kind of eerie how accurate we were able to call for this, right? And it's not because I'm magic or anything. It's just the TA. Massive low volume gap. Once you lose these lows, get accepted in here, very likely case that you get a big capitulation down, right? And then where do we look to target for that? Well, very simply, we look for the rotation to the next value area, right? You have value up here, right? So not only are you breaking the lows, getting accepted out of your volume profile, you're also breaking into a low volume gap. There's nothing but air underneath you here. Anytime you enter these low volume gaps, very likely you see fast drops through them or fast pumps through them, which is, again, why if we break 74K, it could lead to, some God candles. So, and then where do we look for price to go, right? Well, we look to fill that gap very quickly, which does happen, just a straight free fall through that. And then, of course, when you're in between values, right? Again, fair value, right? High volume node, nothing here, right? Price, when you get an imbalance out of a major range like this, well, price is going to do what? It's going to seek out previous fair value. Where's that fair value sit? It sits down here. Where'd the bottom come in, right? And I'm not saying it necessarily has to be the bottom of the bear market, but where's the current bottom in at? Literally almost to the dollar on that value area low, right? So simple auction market theory there. And again, that's part of the reason why if we do break 74K with money flow coming up, right, it just is what it is, right? Bear market or bull market, if there's nothing above you, could be a fast move up, especially with that money flow coming up from the top. Let me come back down here, lower time frame. Man, this thing's just chopping. Come on, give us the golden packet. Sound isn't working. Sound should be working. Just refresh the stream. Head, shoulders, knees, and toes. Shout out to Salinda. Shout out to Jesse in the chat. Welcome in, brother. Good to see you. Oh, shout out to CJ says, I say that because, meaning the daily money flow fake out, I say that because the previous green waves on the daily are getting lower. I don't know what you mean. Oh, I see what you're... Yeah, I don't know exactly what you're looking at there. I assume you mean the money flow waves. Like maybe here. Yeah, I would definitely say, like here, your money flow is definitely over time trending down. But I wouldn't really be incorporating this into this personally. Again, doesn't mean it can't fake out. I also don't know if that's exactly what you mean, but yeah, we'll have to see. I think that's maybe what you mean. Shout out to Bali. Thank you for getting that membership. I appreciate you, brother. Welcome to the Mafia. You can't leave now, bro. It's difficult to get out of the Mafia once you're in. How did you learn TA? Probably college, right? Yeah. I went to college for leverage trading. Oh, man. Actually, funny. I always say this. My dad's also a trader, but he's not the one that taught me how to trade. He taught me a lot about money. He taught me a lot about like financial literacy and investing and stuff, but he's not the one that taught me how to trade. I'm just self-taught. Back when I was learning TA, man, now you have AI and stuff. There's a lot of I wish I started trading nowadays rather than when I did, because I was literally going on Investopedia. Probably a lot of you guys don't even know what Investopedia is. Hopefully you do. But it's like bear flag. You type in bear flag to Investopedia and like read about bear flags. But yeah, hopefully one day they come out with college for trading. Let's see. Can I know what the premium group contains? I will tell you this. It's not a signals group. I'll just kind of show you. I really like to be careful about how we like market the premium Discord, because it is not a signals group. I do not just, and the reason I do that and I kind of promote it that way is because trading is just simply not as easy as getting into a Discord and someone saying, buy now, sell now, and you just make money. There is so much more to trading than that. If that were the case, I'll just say what I always say. I would have never learned how to trade, right? I would have gotten to the best signals group. I would have set up a bot for that, and I would just like be printing billions of dollars doing nothing, right? Like, you have to do some critical thinking. If it was that easy, no one would have a job. So number one, the goal of the Discord is to take your trading to the next level. It's not to learn trading from scratch. We have all the free content on the YouTube channel to get you from knowing nothing about the charts to being able to understand what we look at on these live streams. But for example, pull up the Discord here. Like, this was one of the setups that we had in the Discord, right? Look to go down to the POC. We look for we talk about the confirmations that I typically like to see. Most people just learn the confirmations that I want to see. But if I can front run the exact confirmations for the exact trade setup, I'll talk about exactly the time frames I want to see those confirmations on. But essentially, I give you my spoon-fed trading ideas and trading setups, the ones that I'm interested in. And of course, right, if we pull this up, we don't win every trade either, right? This one happened to be perfect. But I show you the setup before price even gets to the level. If we get down to this level and we see these confirmations, this is where I would look for a potential bounce. Because of these reasons, I'll look for the higher low and a higher high to eventually fill the profile in full. So I give you kind of the full plan there. We do 2 live streams a week, private live streams. There's a lot less people in those live streams. So yeah, I give you my spoon-fed trade setups. There is no, it is not a signals group. I do not tell you, buy right this second, put your stop loss at this exact level, because there's too much variance depending on position size, your actual entry. So yeah, I never like to advertise it as a signals group, because it's not. If you want somewhere where someone's going to tell you exactly, buy now, sell now, put your stop loss at this exact level, I don't recommend looking for that, right? Just think, if it's that easy, everybody would do it. I teach you how to actually be a trader. And shout out to Zach and some of the other people in here making huge progress. Shout out to Zach, said, I love the singles group. All I can say is I'm not single anymore. Shout out to Zach. Gen Z in the chat. What is up, brother? I prefer start trade in 2007 BTC at $10 and go to the library to read books. Then now 120K plus AI plus Trump. No, I don't know exactly what that means. Shout out to Jay, said I'm making progress. Let's go, baby. Let's go. Now we have Trump making things harder. Sure. Again, like when it comes to the news, guys, obviously, right, the news affects the markets, right? It does. It'd be stupid for me to sit up here and say the news does not affect the markets. I'm looking for a higher low here and a higher high into the value area high. I'm not going to say, oh, my God, Trump's speaking now. Like, this plan is totally, done. I'm not looking for this anymore. We're just going to wait for the news to potentially dump it. Like, I'm just going to keep my same bias, right? The easiest example I can point to is the example I always point to. It's this short right here. We shorted here at the top. We were looking for the full rotation of our volume profile, right? And that was our plan, right? Go from the high, get back into the range, POC value area low. Trump tweeted, I don't even remember what he tweeted about. He sent some tweet, sending the market nuking down. And, of course, that short did get a little extra play here, but price settles right on that value area low, right? So our plan was still 100% valid, 100% accurate, right? Now, if it was a good tweet, right, maybe that would have stopped out the trade, but I would say like 9 out of 10 times, I'm just going to stick to my plan, right? Oftentimes, you'll be shocked at how weird and eerie it is that once that news comes out, it just kind of agrees with the TA, right? It's weird how you can kind of see the news on the charts before it happens. I don't try to predict the future, but, I have to say it. Full disclosure, right? If he came out with like, oh my God, we're going to start like printing money, like, if some crazy thing happened bullishly, right? Like that would probably stop your trade out. But I would say more often than not, it does end up being on the right side. And again, why did I take the short up here? It's all based off technical confirmations, right? Not, oh my God, I think Trump's gonna put a tweet out soon that's gonna be negative, right? By the time, the dump happens, right? The tweet comes out, this thing goes down in a microsecond. By the time you're like, oh, let me short, right? You're already getting cooked on the way back up. Can you compare S&P bear market and BTC bear market? Yeah, I mean, historically, right? I just always say this. 4-year cycles, I understand the 4-year cycles in detail, right? Obviously, I don't think it's for nothing. But at the end of the day, Bitcoin historically tracks traditional finance, right? Like, I'll just draw the line on the chart here. S&P is in a bull market. Bitcoin's in a bull market. In this cycle specifically, Bitcoin dumps. The S&P made a couple new all-time highs, and then the S&P dumps, right? Then we're in a bear market. S&P's in a bear market. Bitcoin's in a bear market. They chop around. S&P's chopping around. Bitcoin's chopping around. Oh, time to take back off. They run almost one-to-one. Now here we do see a little bit of deviation, right? If we take a look at the S&P, or we'll take a look at the where are we at? Okay, I am blind. So we have been looking at the S&P or the SPY all the way back here, right? Daily money flow crosses into the red. We look for the continuation of the trend to the downside. The difference here is you'll see, right? The SPY got a massive dump, right into the key support, which wound up holding, which was nice. S&P gets a massive dump, right? Or SPY gets the massive dump. Bitcoin kind of just holds, right? And a lot of people are like, why is that happening? I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say that like Bitcoin's showing massive strength while it was dumping. But the thing is, like, Bitcoin had already had the massive capitulations, right? So, they don't track 1-to-1 100% of the time. But actually, I could look at this real quick, right? Because as we looked at this, we did have that 2-day money flow also crossing into the red. I would say right now, you got your POC sitting here at about 68.33. And again, that daily money flow crossover was a perfect call for that trend continuation into our key levels of support. We've now gotten the bounce, and we talked about this green dot on the 2-day, right? If we get down here, we get the bounce, you get the 2-day green dot. This money flow, obviously, aggressively coming back up. But if this is going to stay in the red, right? So I would actually mark this off as a very key level. Let's see if we have confluence here. Yeah, it's right on your 786. So, I mean, this is going to be major resistance. Because if you're going to put in a lower high and a lower low, I would anticipate it coming, maybe you reject the golden pocket, and there's your lower high for another lower low for a bigger dump, right? This would obviously, in my opinion, very unlikely case that this happens and then Bitcoin just shoots to 90K. Bitcoin would probably follow that in some form or fashion. But if we can kind of sustain this pump, right, that 786, I mean, 683.75, like that would be kind of the big level. It's your full Fibonacci retracement. And when we looked at this, back here when we saw the daily money flow crossover, it's like, well, hey, we had the daily money flow crossing over, which indicated the continuation of the downtrend, which we then saw. We had the level of support. If we get the bounce, we have to be careful of lower highs and lower lows, targeting that 608 level. Why? Because not only is the daily money flow in the red, but that 2-day was also following suit, right? So if we get the bounce, you got to find those key levels of resistance on the way up. And I would say you're kind of tapping into that big zone. Once you break above that 786 and you're able to hold up here above the POC and you don't lose the 786 again, right? If you can hold above this, the lower high is invalidated in my opinion, right? Then I'd be looking up to the value area high and, maybe another new all-time high. But That's only if you're able to break above this zone. So I would say SPY is pushing into a major level of resistance. So we'll see what happens. I'll even just kind of leave this, right? Pretend, I don't know if we're going to get this tomorrow, right? But if you're going to get the lower high and lower low, I would expect it to come in here. We break above it, I'd be looking for the move up. So we'll see. Maybe that 2-day red dot ends up rolling over. Money flow comes back out. But I would say once you break above this, that's kind of invalidated. Somebody said it's dumping. I don't know if I'm talking about, there's Bitcoin going down. Let me pull up the... Man, just barely front ran that golden pocket, and down we go. 15-minute money flow 1 minute money flow crossover into the red with your 15-minute red dot, which is probably printing. There it is. So will the bear div play here? The 4-hour bear div. We'll see. Still within the range here, though. See if we can hold. We lose that 786 value area low. I think we head down to that next key level that we looked at in the beginning of the stream. And the reason I look at the 1 minute and the 15-minute here, guys, is because that is technically a market cipher B 1/16 strategy. I know it's a 1/15 strategy, but when you get the 15-minute red dot, 1 hour money flow crossover into the red, right, you could get that trend to continue down, right? But it's a 1 minute trend. It's not like a, necessarily 4-hour trend. Bye, golden pocket. I miss you. Yeah, front ran that golden pocket. Maybe you hit it on log scale. Not even. Yeah, just front ran that golden pocket. 15-minute 4-hour, that's what I would look at for the bigger continuation down, potentially targeting around like $70,000. This did start to come in the premium Discord. What I looked at here was, because obviously I'm holding the short from last night, the 4-hour bear divs, right, printing, or bear div printing here. And then, when I see this red dot printing, especially with the bear div, I'm shooting right down to that 15-minute, right? Because if the 15-minute money flow is coming out, which it was at the time before we got this local bounce inside the range, you get that 15-minute money flow crossover, very likely that 4-hour red dot, 15-minute money flow crossover, market cipher B 1/16 strategy is going to give you that 15-minute trend to the downside. And technically, although you didn't tap this full golden pocket, I mean, maybe you hit a local. Yeah, maybe, you probably just hit this one. But technically, this is still a lower high, right? So, but again, money flow came back up, which kind of threw a little bit of mud in the water. But I would say as of right now, this money flow continues down, right, and crosses into the red while that 4-hour red dot is printing. I think you continue that bigger trend down. Again, wouldn't make me think we're going to zero just yet. But, we'll see. We'll see. Shout out to Monkey, says, where can I find market cipher strategies? I have a video in the beginner series. I would recommend watching the entire beginner series, but there is a video there talking about the exact strategy I just talked about. Is the bear flag on the weekly from January 19th to February still valid? I'm not a big pattern trader, not to say that it won't play out. Again, right, like, is this a bear flag? Yes. Was this like a big reason I was looking to take the short at 98K? No. Again, you could say that bear flag played out. It's just not the way that I trade. So I assume you're talking about like this. Yeah, technically. As far as a bear flag goes, still definitely valid for another drop down. But again, right, you have your money flow coming up on the daily. Now, if we get the fake out on the daily, could see that play out. And I think another common misconception with trading is like you need to know exactly 100% if you're going to get the breakout or not, which is not true, right? especially when you're just trading the key levels, right? It's just from a very simple perspective. This was our next target between $71,000 and $72,000. We have SFP'd the $72,000 level. This is the exact scenario that we talked about on the live streams, right? 71K, obviously the value area high is your first major level. And then 72K, because we had the liquidity, if we get that SFP, right, which is what I took my short off of, that could give you a valid short setup. Get back into the range. Again, we have the local levels I'll be looking at down here around, give you the exact levels here. Whoops. I would say between 70,500 to 69,924. But at the end of the day, right, like we get accepted back in here, potential failed auction, right? We tried to trade at higher prices, break back down into the range. Technically, once you lose this value area high, the POC is open, but obviously money flow is going to keep me open to the idea of higher lows and higher highs. So we'll see. I am holding the short here. So shout out to Todd. Says White House tweeted and we dumped. Classic. Guess Barron is in a short now. When's he going to make a YouTube channel? Someone said check the bearish CVD. Got to reload this real quick. Shout out to JP. Said, I took the trade. I have learned from the master and continue to learn from the master. Shout out to JP. Let's go. Are you talking about Barron? Yeah, we did have a bearish CVD up at these highs. Had the higher high. Had the higher high on our price action. Lower high on our CVD. I can't pull it up on TradingView, but you can see it here. Right, technical higher high, just barely with the SFP. Lower high. So you do have a little bit of bearish CVD there. Actually, let me also just check. Yeah, with open interest coming up as well. So you do have bearish CVD. Barron has a nice life. I bet. XRP to 3 cents. I agree, Vision. Shout out to Jesse. We can take a look at XRP real quick. Yeah, this really hasn't changed. Still massive support here at your high volume node, or I should say just important support. Once we lose this on XRP, that's where I'm looking for the bigger drop down towards 82 cents. Once you lose that, probably looking down closer to 60 cents. Just simple volume profile theory, right? You have your value up here. Whoops. You have your value down here. Price impulses out of this value. It's going to seek out previous value. If you could stay on top of the value, right? The thing here is you do not want to get accepted into the previous value. Once you do, the fill, right, at least to the POC, if not the value area low, is very likely, right? Take Bitcoin, for example. We had our value area right here. There's your lower value. Here's your upper value. Once we impulse here, price is very likely to gravitate here. Value area high is very important support. Why? Because if you lose it, right, this is exactly what we looked at, right? This is not hindsight analysis. This is exactly what we looked for during the live price action. Just make this a little cleaner, right? Very simple. impulse out of here, which was very clear was the case, right? You had weekly money flow coming out. We literally took the short at 98K, right? So what do we look for? We have the low volume gap, so we expect a fast capitulation down. That's your first level of support. Once you lose that, well, price is very likely to fill that range in full, right? Down to the POC, which technically on a lower time frame, you did kind of play around with a little bit. But what happens? You get the full fill of the profile. So it'd be the same thing on XRP here. Same exact thing. Different profile, but same idea, right? That's your value area high. That's support. If we break in here, POC is very likely. And then again, right, if the chart doesn't look good at the POC, I would still consider this like a strong support level. But once we lose that, if money flow is still coming out, right, you're looking for that full fill just like on Bitcoin. But you got to break in here for that to be the case. You could even come down and wick. Now, I'm not saying this is going to be the case, right? But you could come and wick. You just, at the end of the day, you don't want to lose this level. You don't want to get accepted into this value. Impulse out of here. That's next. Break in. Potentially fulfill. Just like on Bitcoin. It's a matter of time before we crash. It will be ugly. Shout out to Vision. Let's see here. Yeah, I mean, listen. Just because money flow is coming up on the daily does not guarantee the pump. Right, and again, that's why we take the short as well. Let's hide these brushes real quick. And again, in the bearish case, if we do end up, right, it's an if this, then that, right? Because here's the thing. If you take a really decisive, like a prediction type mindset, is a dump is a dump, no, there's no way we're going to dump? Like, no, right? Obviously not. But at the end of the day, if money flow comes up, right, let's say we come up, right, we put in the higher low, we start breaking into this gap, like at the end of the day, there is nothing up here. So if we break into this gap, I would say the probability of coming up is very, very high. We have not done that yet, right? We are pushing into the last resistance level. Remember, just to clear this up very, very simply, I'll take all the local levels off. I'll take all the anchor VWAPs off, right? I'll do this from like a very basic standpoint. This is your resistance. Right? Technically, you could come up again and then get the lower high and then come down to 60K. Right? Now, money flow is not pointing towards that. Doesn't mean it's guaranteed because money flow is coming up. You have to continue. So, yeah, technically, this is the level. Once we break above this, I'm looking for 80K. But, still, you could come up more and then still get the dump. So, if we do, right, as you all know, we're kind of far away from this at this point, so it's kind of not as relevant. But you all know, right? If we get the dump below 60K, this is my emotional preference, right? Not my probability preference, but my emotional preference, right? And here's the other thing, right? Let's just say we get the dump from here. Money flow's coming up. If we break above the 786, we can go to 80K, but then we get the massive dump, right? I am short on that move, right? I don't need to know that it's 100% going to break down. If you understand how to position yourself correctly, you don't have to be 100% certain on what's going to happen. You want to shift your mindset from a prediction-based mindset to a probability-based mindset. Hedge your risk or hedge your trades, manage the risk, and you'll live to trade another day and increase your account over time. So if we did, I guess I will just cover the bearish case. I could take this off because we've already bounced off of it. If we get the acceptance back in here, none of these support level hold, right? Well, then I'm just viewing my short position as a volume profile, right? Lose the POC, go back down to the low. At that point, I'll have multiple take profits locked in. And at that point, I could hold the rest of that winner for a potential breakdown below 60K, right? And even if I had a super strong bias that we have to go up, right? I never really say that. Let's just say I'm going to say we have to go up, right? I could still make money on that way down by hedging myself. Worst case scenario, if this short stops out, like I said, it's a smaller position size because of my larger stop loss. If we take this, or if I get stopped out of this, right? I'm going to lose a small amount of money, and then the long's going to continue to pay me out, right? So I take a small loss and continue to make money. That long will continue to make profit, cover the losses plus profit. If it plays out, I'll stop out of the long and profit, and the short plays. So if we did get that, right, what I would really like to see, I'll be honest. I'm going to go off on a limb here. If we did get, right, another push up, let's just even say we go to 80K, and then we get the dump, this could potentially set you up for weekly bullish divergences, which, mind you, called the bottom in 2022. Again, that's super speculative. I can't promise you that's going to happen. But, if we can get this momentum wave up a little bit more, all right, and then get the lower low, could set up for that weekly bull div. That would look really nice if we put those weekly bull divs into like 55 to 50K or 58 to 50K. But again, we're looking super far in the future here, right? Back when we were at the bottom of the range, we said, hey, if we lose this range low, we could look for lower lows into support, higher lows into our momentum waves for higher daily time frame bull divs. Of course, we got the higher low on our momentum waves. We did not get the lower low on price. For me to call like a very confident bottom for the bear market, I would really prefer to see the weekly bullish divergences, or at least high time frame bullish divergences. Right back here when we called the bottom on these lower lows, right? Well, because very simply, so many things lined up, right? Timing of the cycle was like literally almost perfect. Ending on massive fear, weekly bullish divergences. We were waiting for this weekly bull div when we were sitting up here saying, hey, if I were to try to see where the bottom was going to come in, what would I like to see? I'd like to see a big dump down and some weekly bullish divergences. Sure enough, we get them. Money flow comes back up on the weekly, and the bottom is in. Beautifully positioned down there. Unfortunately, right now, we do not have those, right? So it does make me suspicious of taking that low. But I'm just trading the chart in front of me right now. So, yeah, we'll see. Shout out to Monkey says, thanks, I have to watch your series. Yeah, shout out to Monkey. It's the beginners playlist on the YouTube channel. It's essentially a free beginners course. Bitcoin can't, I assume that means can't possibly dump down anymore. Shout out to Andrew. Yeah, I've thought that in the past too. And, listen, as far as bear markets goes, you guys know, I don't really like, I see the confirmation on the chart. I'm looking for the bottom, right? But at the end of the day, right, like we only really came down, 52% from the all-time high. If the bottom is in, that is the easiest cakewalk bear market ever, right? So I'm not naive enough to just be like, we're down 50%. It can't dump anymore. It for sure can dump more. I've been in many situations where like it can't go lower. There's no way. And then it'll surprise you, especially altcoins. It's like, man, this thing can't go down anymore. And then Bitcoin dumps and it free falls. So I would just be careful with that. We'll see. Time will tell. Yeah, bottoming behavior, beware of bearish calls. You can wait forever for 29K, the same way everyone was waiting for 14K last bear market. Shout out to Wick. I say this all the time. The 30K calls are starting to sound like the 8K calls in 2022, right? Now, 8K was a level to watch, right? It was a target. It was a technical level. 8K, it was there. My targets for the bear market bottom was between 12 and 14K. 14 and 12K, right? If we lost 12K, well, then I would start looking down towards 8K. But a lot of people were just, in this price action going, we have to go to 8K. You guys are idiots. 8K, 8K, 8K. And then they wind up buying on the way back up, right? Now, it doesn't mean this is an invalid target. And again, I had my targets down here, 12 to 14K. Now, my entry in the last bear market was between $20,000 and $21,000. The reason, right, it does not matter. I always try to caution people for waiting for the price targets, right? People call for 100K here. We got nowhere near it. People call for 150, 250K here. We get nowhere near it, right? People call for 8K here. We get nowhere near it. At least 12 to 14K got close. But I am never, ever waiting for that target to get hit to dump my whole bag in, right? I dollar cost average, very specifically, if you want a dollar cost average strategy that I use that has worked in the past, not financial advice. Weekly money flow crosses over into the red, which happened up here. Big capitulation. That's where I start dollar cost averaging. Weekly money flow crossover, big capitulation. That's where I start dollar cost averaging, right? So, sure, I can say, hey, if we come into 12 to 14K, that's significant. But I'm already dollar cost average, DCA, 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 DCA. If we dump down here, more DCA. And then I'm looking for the bottom here, right? We did not hit it. I still have an entry at still get an entry at $20,000 to $21,000, right? Never in a million years would I say this level has to get hit. That's where you buy, right? Never. That's not how the charts work, right? Once you see this bullish divergence, you're going to be thanking yourself right? That you were not waiting for that 12 to 14K level, because once that weekly bull div prints, bottom's likely in, money flow starts coming up, the bottom is for sure likely in, and then you start the bull market, right? You don't want to be waiting for those price targets, right? So is 30K a valid price target? I would say it is, right? It's the value area low of your previous bull market range, right? It's definitely a valid level to look at, but if I start seeing, right, I'm not going to wait for that level to start buying. And of course, if I see, if we wind up getting massive weekly bullish divergences, right, at that point, this is where people say, here it is, 30K. And then the bottom comes in just like, here it is, 8K. And then they miss the boat. Now, if we don't get the confirmations, if the chart looks like trash down there, right, there is an if this, then that, right? We lose 47K. We start getting accepted into this value area, back to the value area. This is how I view the market. We start losing this range, losing the POC, that's where 30K becomes very likely. But it's not until we get down there, right? Until then, we have massive support between 58 and I would say like $53,000. We've retested the all-time high. You also have your 200-week moving average down there. Right, so we do have support. Right? So down here, we came down to the 200-week, deviate below, right? Bearish retest, deviate below. The bottom comes in, right? If this were something like that, it would look very similar, right? You get the same kind of levels. Previous all-time high tested. Previous all-time high from 2017 was about 20K, right? You dip a little bit below it. 69K, you dip a little bit below it. Dip below the 200-week, dip below the 200-week. Everyone calls for 8K. Everyone calls for 30K. I'm not saying it has to happen, right? But you do want to be aware of this stuff, right? If I see the signals here, I'm going to look at them just like I looked here. I do not need 30K to start buying, right? I'm already DCAing. Weighted DCAing, right? The lower you go, the more you can buy, right? That way it helps your average entry price go down and down and down, right? And again, you have to think about your time horizon as well, right? In the next 5 to 10 years, I think Bitcoin's going to be above $100,000, obviously. So you have to have a plan. 2022 was a pretty dirty year for crypto. I don't believe we'll touch 16K, but 35 to 45, absolutely yes. I would say possibly yes. Again, those absolutelys are just a dangerous way to view things. Not because I don't think it could happen, right? It could definitely happen, right? There's an argument for 30K. It would give you your traditional 70-ish% correction, right? 75% correction. That's typically around what we see. Last cycle was, I think, 76%. I'm not perfectly wick to wick there. So, it is a valid place to look, right? And again, we don't have the confirmations yet, right? So it's not like the confirmations are here. There's no way we're going to 30K. Not the case. We could go to 30K, but I think saying absolutely is a very, people said we are absolutely going to 150K. People are saying we were absolutely going to 8K. People are saying we were absolutely going to 100K. Doesn't mean it can't happen, right? But looking at it in an absolute fashion, again, probability-based versus prediction-based. You do not want to be have a prediction-based mindset. You want to have a probability-based mindset. Once we lose that POC, the probabilities become higher that we see 30K, right? So then that's a probability-based mindset, right? But until we lose that support, the probability is you're above support, and if you have the weekly bullish divergences, right, the probability is higher. So higher that you go higher. So you want to try to view things from, again, you could just look as old as time. Prediction-based mindsets get cooked, right? 150K. And even up here, I had 137K was a main target above. Just like 12 and 14K was a main target down here. We did not hit 137K. Does not matter. Why? Because we see those confirmations come in. There's your weekly bearish divergence. There's your money flow starting to come out, right? You had earlier signals on the 2-day. Once that 2-day money flow came out, or started not coming out, not crossing into the red, but trending down like this, that was our first warning sign that 126 was probably the top. Sold up on the retest, thank God, right? Because that big capitulation, we were 100% correct about that, right? So I'm not saying, no, we didn't hit the target. You got to wait for that target. We just see confirmation that target is no longer high probability, right? So targets secondary. You got to be careful looking for those price targets. There's nothing on Bitcoin that's saying I have to hit 137K, right? It's just a level that if pushed into would be resistance. If we printed those weekly bear divs into that target, well, then I would look for the top there. If they print before it, I'm still looking at that as being the top. Exactly. I mean, the top here and the bottom here and the top here, these were all identical. Weekly bear div, weekly bull div, weekly bear div, right? 100K front ran, 8K front ran, 150K was the main target everyone was looking at, front ran. There's nothing about this Fibonacci level that means Bitcoin is going there, right? It just means that's a target you want to watch if you get there, right? And then if you see those confirmations into the target, pretty high probability you're going to get the rejection. This is why most people are just, you ever hear somebody emotionally calling, we have to go to 200K. Nobody knows that, right? Like, is it possible? Maybe, right? Once that weekly bear div prints, 200K, probably not happening. That's why it wasn't when we tapped 126K that I said, that's it, 126K is the top because I hit a target. No. We topped out 126K. We pulled back. We saw that money flow coming out, indicating that we'd see a large trend to the downside, and for many reasons, cycle timing, weekly money flow. Once we saw that big trend down, it was very likely that the weakness was going to be in the market for a continuation into the bear market, right? So on those retracements up here, we say 126K was likely the top. Not we hit 126K, that's the target, the top is in, right? You have to see those confirmations, right? You need price action to develop. You need the information, right? Sometimes you got to wait for the information to present itself. Do I care that I sold my Bitcoin at like 108 to 110K rather than at 126K? No. I've been holding since down here, right? I basically, that's selling the top. So there you go. Little education for the mafia. Let's see. We getting the pull back. Yeah, we're continuing down here. Yeah, still kind of just hovering there below the POC. BTC dominance. Let's take a look at dominance real quick. We looked at this the other day. Do we have actually something new to talk about now? Yeah, still just chopping sideways here. When we talk about these fib levels, right, like these were the last major levels. Thank God we don't check this every day. Because people always ask about dominance, and I would always check back, like, no, nothing new, right? Once we end up, I would say, like, once we end up getting back inside this value area, we'll have something to talk about. But since then, we've just been chopping sideways. So, yeah. I don't use dominance for my trades. Maybe just for, like, an overall market outlook. It's not higher high yet. Shout out to DJ H. I don't know exactly what you mean by that. We do have a higher high here. Got the SFP into the weekly level here. Not a significant higher high, and it is to the wicks. But you do have the higher high. With the bearish CVD into the weekly level and the SFP. So, technically higher high, not to the bodies. Oh, yes to the bodies. Never mind. So, yeah, you definitely do have a higher high here. Not to say you should close your short, by the way. But chopping sideways is key for staking. Morgan Stanley should put a dent in Bitcoin over the next 2 weeks. Thank you, Frankie, for your wisdom and knowledge. Shout out to Gen Z. No problemo, brother. That's what we're here for. Shout out to Vision, said, hey, Frankie, everyone is saying XRP is guaranteed going to 10K. Absolutely by the end of this month. If XRP goes to $10,000 by the end of the month, I don't even know, like, I'll do anything. I don't know. Like, I wouldn't bet my life on it. I just wouldn't bet my life on anything. But yeah, I bet my life that's not going to happen. XRP's been going to 10K by the end of the month for years now. It's never happened. So yeah, I mean, you guys know where I stand on that. If you do a trend line from the all-time high towards 97K and downwards, you can clearly see 72.8 is huge resistance in my opinion. Shout out to Zach. We could try to pull that. From the all-time high to 97K. I don't know if you're pulling them to the wicks or what. Yeah, I'm not sure exactly. All-time high to 97K. Not seeing it. Shout out to Zach. I'm sure you're looking at something. Must not be this, though. You're probably on non-log. That's what you're doing. So you're just on non-log. So yeah, you can see that there. We shall see. Not a big trend line guy, but we will use them when they're relevant, right? Like back here, again, not a huge trend line guy, but when we saw this trend line here, all right, once we broke this, we weren't just looking at the trend line, of course, but once we were able to break above this, right, this is a major level of resistance. It was also a POC, right? So there's many things we were looking at here, but one of the big things was the high time frame money flow coming up, right? 16-hour money flow coming up, daily money flow, attempting to cruise to the upside. So once you break that trend line, right, pop above it, snap it, get the big move up. So, you know, if I were to try to pull something like that, I guess, yeah, I mean, you could look at that. You could also, I would probably pull it. Yeah, we're technically kind of already above this one. Let me see this real quick. Interesting. You know, if we do end up getting that hold of these previous highs, this is a local support that we looked at in the beginning of the stream. It is confluent with this kind of trend line from 97K to the previous high. Again, I'm not a big trend line guy, but it could be nice. See, little breakout retest, send it? Potentially. Shout out to Zach. Said it. It looks different. Trust me. Yeah. Shout out to Zach. I think you were just on non-log because that brings it right in at about 70,000, 72.8. Yeah. No volume to send it. I mean, right now, no. But the volume could come in, right? It's because it's not here right now. I mean, it's going to be here. It's not. It's going to not be here until it is, right? But yeah, obviously, volume not super crazy right now for crypto. I agree. XRP to $9,999. Yeah, I don't know, man. It is crazy too, because like every time I see those guys on Instagram or like TikTok or something, it's like a bazillion likes. It just goes to show, right, that like people just want to be told what they want to hear. It really is crazy. Right? $10,000 by the end of this week at 6:32 p.m. They're gonna flip the switch. Doesn't happen. Actually, it's gonna be next week. Doesn't happen. Actually, it's gonna be next week. Doesn't happen. Right. Meanwhile, you know, it just moves with the market. But let's see. We might as well mark out the level, right? We might as well mark out the target. So here it is. Yeah, like I don't know what I would do. Like I don't. There's like not anything that I can offer that would be like worth it if that happens. Like I would just do anything if that happens. But again, you know, if you are out there, you know, I would love it XRP to go to 10K. But you know, you gotta at some point start to think about Who's telling you that, right? Like, they've been saying this forever, guys. Previous cycles, they've been saying this forever. It's just not on the market. Like, if the XRP, it's like impossible for it to go to $10,000, in my opinion. But even if it was possible, right? It's just like they just keep like it's gonna happen, you know. XRP to $10,000, January 31st, 2017. It dumps, right? Oh no, now it's going to $10,000, guys. Don't worry about your, don't worry about making 70,000% and actually making money. Just hold it for $10,000. It'll happen. Oh, this week, guys. Never mind. It's gonna be next month. Never mind. Here it is, guys. Don't bother taking profits from buying down here and holding to here. Just $10,000, $10,000, $10,000. They just keep moving the flagpole, or the goalpost, I should say. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. I feel bad for people who fall into that trap. But again, people like to hear what they want to hear. So pretty soon, I'm just going to start calling for crazy targets. Guys, Bitcoin to $1.72 million by next Tuesday at 6:54 p.m. Just trust me. Just trust me. The market for that can't happen. Yeah, that's why I say it's impossible. It'd be more money than the world probably has, yeah. I know there is like, I don't know, there's an explanation why people do look for that. People have tried to explain it. It just, I don't know, doesn't mathematically make sense to me. Yeah, $100 XRP is trillions in market cap. Yeah. I mean, it's just crazy, man. I mean, there's no certification to talk on the internet. Remember that. Not possible. I would agree with that. I will. I don't know. I will give a random person in the chat $10,000. I mean, that's not even enough. $1 billion, $1 million. There's just nothing big enough that I can. It's just not going to happen. I'll shave my head. I mean, that's not worth it. Like, I don't know. I get a. I don't know. It's just nothing. $10 maybe. Yeah, I mean, there are realistic targets, right? It's just not $10,000. It's wild. And every time I see them, right, like people go live on TikTok talking about 10K incoming, and it's like they've been doing that for years. And like I click on their live streams, there's tons of people on those live streams. Like, we're here. We're going to make it. We're going to make it. I'm like, man, dude, forget making it. Try to make money. Shave head. Oh, I mean, yeah, I don't even think that's worth it. I will 100%. If XRP goes to $200 by the end of this month, I'll shave my head. And I am not someone who's here saying XRP is going to go to zero either, right? Like, I'm not like just a random XRP hater. I'm just a realist. Yeah, $10. Yeah, I mean, $10 is possible. I wouldn't say by the end of the month, but it is possible. Delete the channel. I'll delete the YouTube channel at 10K. Yeah, I guess that maybe would be worth it. Yeah, like $100. Possible, maybe, but like not anytime soon. Yeah, maybe not in our lifetime. Shout out to Vision. Clipped. Shout out to Jesse. It's been clipped. Your puppy needs a playmate. Get one. Shout out to Maku. Yeah, I will get another dog at some point. I got to get her out of the puppy phase. She's just learning. I'll cut off my calves. Shout out to Gen Z. I'll cut the calves off. I'll get calf reduction surgery if XRP goes to 10K by the end of this month. Honestly, if it ever goes there. I'll get the chicken leg surgery. 4-hour red dot confirming in 1 hour. You have 1 hour to confirm the red dot on the 4-hour. So we shall see here. One-hour money flow coming out. 12-hour VWAP rolling over as well. Yeah. So we'll see. See if that 4-hour bear div gives us the pullback. Again, I do prefer to see these a little bit more local into the level, but I mean, that's a bear div, right? There's no arguing that. Lower highs, higher highs. And is that 15-minute money flow coming out now? Man, this 15-minute money flow is kind of wonky. Doesn't want to go out. But again, what I would look for over the next hour is this 15-minute money flow crossover into the red. If so, I think we are probably going to take out this low and start heading down to our next local key level, which is going to be sitting between 70,500. I'd probably be more interested in filling these single prints. So I would mark this as a zone, right? 70,558 down to 69.9. And again, very close to where that trend line was. Again, not that that's a huge part of my analysis, but yeah, 15-minute trend. You got your high, your low, your lower high, your lower low. You know, if we continue down there, I'd be watching these levels. 70,547, 69,908. And then if we lose that, I'd be looking to come down here to the value area low, where I believe we do have a daily MPOC. So I would have if we do get the continuation down, got your high, POC, low. So this would be zone number 1. At that point, honestly, with these high time frame red dots, it's definitely a key level to look at. But if we can't hold that 786 POC here, I'd be looking down here, and then again interested in this level, which sits at 68,835 to 68,470. This will be local support. And then if I can just see where this sits inside the local volume profile, just get these VWAPs off the chart. Yeah, I mean, these would be the two next big levels. Lose this, headed down here. But at that point, right, like just from a medium time frame perspective, get back below the high. Doorway to the POC is open. Once you lose that POC, I mean, you got support down here, but it depends on what money flow looks like, right? But at the end of the day, here's your deviation above the high. We get back into this range. I would be interested in potential bounces at those two levels I just brought up, but it doesn't mean I would necessarily close my short, right? Because you could go down to the POC, could lose the POC, go to the low, and then, you know, who knows? Maybe you get the big dump. But already made money on the long. So, you know, short hedge there. Looking to short now. Shout out to Mr. Call. I'm already short. Shout out to Mohammed. Said, Frankie, do you know that very commonly the money flow crossover into the red and the green is equivalent to the 13 crossing over the 50 EMA? Let's see. Pretty close. No money flow crossover there. No money flow crossover there. None there. Close. Close. No crossover there, but it was a fake out. See, like, significant crossovers. Yeah, there's a cross there. Pretty close. This is kind of choppy. Interesting. There's a cross there. There's a cross there. Huh. I don't know what the actual calculation is. We asked CryptoFace when he came on the show, but, you know, clearly, or not clearly, but understandably, he didn't want to share it. But yeah. Biddy is dead. Shout out to the Dusty Hunt. Good support at 17,420. Shout out to Dusty Hunt. Do we have good support at 17,000? I don't know. If Bitcoin, you got a monthly. I don't know. Bitcoin broke down there. I would be very concerned. Can we look at Solana? We actually took a look at Solana before. Your next major key level here, and again, 15-minute money flow. You have the 4-hour bearish divergence. You have the 15-minute money flow crossover. So if you do, money flow stays in the red, continuation of the trend could be likely. Next biggest level of support that we covered earlier is sitting right down here between 80.94 and 78.87. And then, once you lose that 786, I'd be looking for the much bigger drop down. That's kind of like Bitcoin taking out its range lows. But yeah, locally, daily money flow coming up, but locally you got the 4-hour bear divs. Obviously, going to be looking for some resistance off of that in the short. If we get the pullback, biggest levels to look at, in my opinion, pretty much, just without overcomplicating things, sitting right here, and then down here. And this zone does sit between so we'll see, right? Like, this is like local. For me personally, I am, for the most part, for my main trades, trading the bigger range. Right? Long was from down here. Short is from up here. Not telling you to enter a short now. I'm just saying my short was originally taken up here on the SFP. So, locally you got this down here. And once you lose that, I'd be looking down towards 68.8 to about 68.44. But again, over the grand scheme, can't get back out of here. It's a simple value area rotation. POC door is open. These would be like honorable mention support levels. Took a small position at 71,684. Nice. In profit currently. Will the value area high hold? Whoops. Hide some of this stuff to make it a little easier on the eyes. So yeah, there it is, right? This is the same level I just looked at from a different perspective. You got your previous range value area high, your macro value area high. Lose that 786. Yeah, so these are probably the biggest levels I'd mark off for support. But again, at that point, you're back inside the profile. You do have an opportunity to get stuck in there and, head back down towards the POC. Once you lose that POC, there's your deviation above the high, back into the range, can't get out. POC is next, lose the POC. That could be the open door for the bigger move down. Again, we're not seeing that on money flow right now just yet, which is why I'm interested in these support levels. See, just nice little dumpski there. Kind of stinks that we didn't hit that value area high. That would have been nice. Wow, short stream today. We're going up on 2 hours here. Coming up on 2 hours. Send it back to 67K. I wish I could. So, bullish case. I mean, really? Yeah, I don't even, to be honest, I don't even really want to come down to test this again. I would say for the bullish case, guys, I'd really like to hold this. And I'm not saying you have to go down there, but like once you lose this, I mean, at that point, where does this come in? 67.3. Let me see what this is. Yeah, I mean, we lose 67.3. I think there's a high chance you continue down. Until then, daily money flow is coming up. Higher lows and higher highs could still be in the cards. I mean, it'd be nicer to hold that aggressive trend, but I think this volume profile is the cleanest one to look at. All right, you have the confluence on the local support level here. You break out of the range, you hold on top of it, continue up. Once you start losing that's where it starts to get a little sketchy. Lose 67.3, I think that's where you continue down. I'd say this is probably going to be the line in the sand that needs to hold in order to continue up. I mean, you'd be breaking this low, so maybe even a little higher. But at the end of the day, from a volume profile perspective, you lose that POC, chances of continuing down to the value area low could be higher probability, which would give you that massive dump down to 60K. But until, we're all the way above this range, right? It's not until we lose that I'm actually looking towards that. You have your local range, and then you have your macro range. I'm not looking to come down to this value area low when we're sitting above our local range high, right? Shout out to mine, said bear market, folks. Any move up, look to take the cash and look for a short. Shout out to Mind. Not bad advice in a bear market. I think we'll do like the last local top. It'll make 3 tops. I assume you mean this one. Yeah, I mean, that's the idea here above the value area, right? Failed auction, you bing bong around, you lose your support, can't get out, failed auction. Deviate above the high, you bounce around your support, can't hold it, you lose it, failed auction. This is your key support for a continuation up. Once you get accepted back in, POC is likely, and then the fulfill the volume profile. So, very similar, right? Bing bong around, can't get out. Value area high, you're going to be key support, right? But once you get accepted back in, and again, we had the long setup here on the POC, which at the end of the day could have played out for a bigger move up if we were going to go low, high, higher, low, higher, high. But at that point, right, we get up here, we see the short setup, we take it, and eventually you do get that fulfill the profile. Yeah, sell in May and walk away. Shout out to Always. Looking forward to sell in May and walk away. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, let's look back at the previous bear market. Yeah, I mean, I guess we just dumped in April. Went sideways for May and then dumped in June. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I don't really look at, there are statistics. I mean, you can look at the historical performance on Bitcoin, through specific months. I don't really use that as a, if the chart looks bullish in May, I'm going to buy it. Or you could say during the bear market, the moves up are choppy and inconsistent. The moves down are clean and bring in more money. And during a bull market, vice versa. Yeah, for sure. I always say greedy with the longs in a bull market, conservative with the shorts, and greedy with the shorts in a bear market, conservative with the longs. Yeah, shout out to Brillo said I don't really look at the sell and make. I mean, yeah, again, it depends on. Show me the chart, right? Any of this stuff, like just sell in May. I mean, could it work? I mean, I would have to look at the performance based on the months. But I still wouldn't make decisions off of that, right? Because like, what if in 1 May it looks super bullish? It's like I'm just gonna be reacting off the charts for sure. This could be the top, might be accepted into the range again. Yeah. I mean, here's the thing, right? Money flow aside, right? If I'm not paying attention to money flow, get accepted back into the range, right? That's going to be more bearish. Technically, the POC is an open door. However, I do know that money flow is coming up on the daily, right? I'm not just like gambling on the money flow continuing up, right? I will have the short. But, when we look at the local support levels, is it possible, right? I could try to like right here, right? For example, you hit the value area high, you pull back, you still get a higher high. You get back into the value area, you get the bounce, you go higher. This is not impossible, right? To go like that. Again, like we look for those setups and the trades that we're looking to take in the premium Discord. I'm not going to cover it all on the stream, but if money flow is crossed into the green on the daily, on the 4 hour, on the 8 hour, the idea of potentially putting in a higher low and a higher high is still valid even if you get inside the volume profile. But just from, if you're just looking at the volume profile alone, it's like, well, hey, pretty simple failed auction idea. Back into the range. Can't get out. POC door is open, right? But then if you put in a higher low and continue up, you're going to be scratching your head being like, hey, what's going on here? So you do have to keep an eye on that money flow or just the market structure in general, right? You're in an uptrend here. So we'll see. Maybe I don't take another long down here. I don't know. I just don't know what the chart's going to look like. Shout out to Big Huggy says, bing bong, fire sauce, let's go. Shout out to Big Huggies. Welcome in, brother. Shout out to Dalton said, what's your thoughts about Bitcoin being used to pay toll fees through the Strait of Hormuz? Crazy how universal of a currency it can be. Yeah, I mean, I don't pay attention to that kind of stuff. Again, I'm like 100%, almost 100% technical trader. Not that stuff's not important. It's just like Bitcoin's great for that, right? I don't really use it for my trades, though. I was greedy with my shorts, and then yesterday happened. Shout out to Indian Martini. Oh, no. I will say, right, like, you want to be greedy with shorts given context, right? Like, for me personally, right, like, I was very greedy with the short at 98K because I did expect this to be a significant swing high before a massive capitulation down. Doesn't necessarily mean, right, just for what it's worth, if for example, if I'm just looking at local price action, right, we're not tapping into a major key level. Like these were some levels that we were looking at in the premium Discord up here. That'd be super sick if that would print. Okay, beautiful. Not that I wouldn't hold a portion of this to get the bigger drop down, but it's like if I was looking at like local price action here, I take a day trade here, looking for the full rotation of the profile, wouldn't necessarily be greedy with every single short. Right, especially if like, let's just say for example, like you're in a bull market, you're in an uptrend, right? And let's just say I catch a scalp short here, but my bias is for an overall continuation up, and I wouldn't be greedy with the short if I expect the bigger continuation to the upside. Does that make sense? Right, so it's going to be based on the local price action as well. So for example, like on a 4 hour money flow coming into the green, like it is right now. right? You get the crossover into the green. The idea is higher low, higher high. So I took this short. But once we come down to the PLC, I'm locking in majority of those profits, right? Because my idea is that this could be a higher low for a higher high. So it is going to be contextual. But for the most part, right, like if you hit major levels, right, maybe you could be greedy. You know, in this case, it's a little clearer up here that this could be a major swing high. I like the name Big Huggies. Yeah, it's a very bear market, very bear market appropriate name. It'll sweep 71.9. 269 people have to hit the like button. If you were on that list, go ahead and tap that like button if you guys appreciate the free content. And if you saw the live stream on Monday. I mean, we give the actual setups and my like daily thoughts on what I'm looking for at each level. But this is 100% the level that we looked at for that higher low, guys. Give it away for free every day. Water consumption check. Shout out to Indian Martini. Thank you for that. I need that. I absolutely 100% need that. There we go. What are we at here? We're at 3 p.m. Oh, look at that. We're right on time. Let me give myself a little room here. Yes, I am short on Bitcoin right now. Technically, I'm schlong. Was given the nickname Big Huggies at college from some teammates. Shout out to Big Huggies. What is the backstory on that? All right, we're at like 4:45 p.m. now. We should be good. Frankie will drink everything but water. Right back to the coffee. It's so bad. So terrible at hydrating lately. I've been good since I got this water bottle. I literally need this thing to tell me what time to drink to. And I'm always looking at it like 7 a.m. I should be at 12 p.m. I got to drink it all down there. I don't know what it is. I just don't get thirsty. I wish I could explain it. I just like don't get the sensation of thirst. So I just have to make it like a subconscious habit. Training going good. Yes, Lucy is she's really good. She's really good. She can sit, she can stay. She can lay down, she can go in her crate, she can give paw, and she's starting to understand she has to go to the bathroom outside. I drink McDonald's Coke every day. Shout out to Jency. McDonald's Coke is special. All right, let's check in here locally. Still bing-bonging in the range here. We got some volatility. Short at the moment from the value area high. So pretty close to break even, I would assume. Health is wealth. Yeah, shout out to James. Can't buy health. I guess you could buy good health care, but you can't buy health. You can't throw $100 bills at sickness and it runs away. Last name is Hughes, and I used to hit bombs out of the ballpark, and I'm 6'3", 200 pounds. Still hitting bombs just in a men's league now. Shout out to Big Huggies. Let's go, baby. Monster. Can we take a look at Zcash? I could take a quick look at Zcash. There we go. Well, there's the short on Zcash from the premium Discord. Smash with the TP with another big move to the upside. Yeah, nice little popski there. Right? And again, you know, this is value area high. You know, this is sometimes what can get a little bit difficult, and why I do not ignore say, bullish signals into a value area high. Right now, I don't know necessarily if you had some massive bullish signal down here. I guess you had some 2-day bull divs. But, you look at this at face value, and it's like, oh, you're below the value area. It's never going to be an automatic thing where it's just, you're inside the value area, you have to go to the POC. You have to understand context, etc. I mean, even in this case, you had your money flow coming out, which could, I guess give you a lower high and then the lower low on the bodies of your candles. But, this could hold as support, right? And then once you hold this, right, where's price likely to go next? If you impulse out of this range, price is going to go seek out that fair value again. So let me clean this chart up a little bit because I have not looked at this in quite some time, ever since pretty much up here. So let me this is still valid. 786 daily MPOCs, so that's still valid. That's still valid. These are all still valid up here. I will keep this just because of the confluence, but technically you do have... Yeah, look at that. Straight out to seek that previous balance. Let's see here. So, I mean, you're looking to get above this pretty important anchored VWAP. Let's see here. Daily money flow crossing into the green. Again, I mean, at face value here, daily money flow crossing into the green would make me, I mean, you're at resistance. You got the previous value area low, anchored VWAP. You have this previous, probably weekly level, I would assume. Oh, no, you're already above the weekly. Yeah, you got the daily anchored VWAP, previous value area low. I mean, it's definitely resistance. Got 4-hour bear div? No. Got some low time frame bear divs. I would say 30-minute money flow trying to come out. How's your 8-hour red dot printing? So, yeah, I'd be careful. I mean, you're definitely at resistance here. You might be able to get a little cool off. But, again, over the higher time frame here, daily money flow coming into the green. If this continues up, could be looking for higher lows and higher highs, in which case your biggest level of support is going to be that value area high. Pull this up on a 4-hour real quick. So these would be some key levels I would pay attention to. Got your golden pocket there with these structural highs. And then I would watch this zone right here. So I would say, if you got some kind of like really, really big pullback, fast move up, could come back down to fill that. With the daily money flow coming up, if I were looking for higher lows and higher highs, I would say this is kind of the first place to look. Lose that, I'd be looking down here between 267.73 and 252.23. And then that first box sits at about, call it 280. And if you can hold this support, next major zone of resistance sits up here. I mean, this is going to be massive. You got 2 daily MPOCs, macro 786, macro value area low, 358.97 to 380.79. So that's what I would look at here on Zcash. So we'll see. Hold that anchored VWAP. Yeah, if you can get back above here, That'd be the next place to look. Let me see. Where's this golden pocket? Yeah. You've already rejected the golden pocket. So I don't really look for these to hold up very aggressively 2 times in a row. Right? So you've already come down, pulled from the high to the low. You got the golden pocket retracement. You came back down. I mean, this is the second attempt at this level. Break above here. Next likely place for price to go is going to be 356, 357. Right up in here. And this 45-minute looks like maybe it could give you a little bit of a bear div. It's, of course, assuming that you hold this level. Once you lose it, this would be the next place I'd be looking. Shout out to Blauda. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly. He says, when you look at VWAP, are you looking at session, anchored, or weekly? I'm almost always looking at the anchored VWAP or a session VWAP, but any of the VWAPs that you see me talking about here are all anchored VWAPs. This is the anchored VWAP from the significant lower high where we had the short in the premium Discord, which obviously remained below it. Trend continues down, right? But now we're trying to break back above it. And money flows coming up on the daily, right? So like a face value here, guys, on the daily. Like, this doesn't look bad for a continuation up, right? Pullbacks are going to be looked at as lackluster, higher lows and higher highs. Until proven otherwise. Shout out to Zach, says, when you do the volume profiles, do you update once the candles... once more candles are forming? I've seen it's more accurate this way. If it depends. If you are still within balance, right? So let's say this is your range, and then price is kind of just chopping around here. In that case, I would extend to current price action. Extend to current price action, right? So like, for example, here's your little dot that you drag. I would pull that to current price action. Once this happens and I see imbalance, I do not incorporate that price action, right? So in that case, my range would stop where that imbalance occurred. Why is that? Well, I use the volume profiles to find the fair value. Fair value is inside the value area, right? In the ranging price action. This is balance. I use the volume profiles. Value, balance, fair value, it's all the same thing, right? So I use the volume profiles to mark off the balanced price. Buyers and sellers agree this is a fair value. Once we have imbalance, I do not incorporate those candles. Why? Because it's not balance, right? I just use this to find the balance. But let's say price comes back down and then we go back up. Now I'm extending the range to the right. Why? Because we're still inside balance. Deviate above the high, right? Maybe we go above the high a bit and then we come back down, rotate. We're back in value. I will extend that. If we're back in balance, I extend the profile. Again, the only time I don't extend it is if we impulse. Then I am not incorporating those candles. Simply because I'm marking out balance, and this is the opposite of balance. Hopefully that makes sense. Shout out to Zach. Let's see. That's exactly what I was asking. Thanks a lot. I meant inside, of course. Yeah, 100%. Can't hold 70K and it's cooked. Yeah, I mean, that is... whoops. Yeah, I mean, I would, again, I would probably separate these into 2 different levels. I'd like to hold here. If we come down here, it's kind of a last resort. I don't know if I would say it's cooked, but I would definitely expect lower. Right? Probably down to about 68.8 to 68.5. Do I see a head and shoulders? I don't look for head and shoulders. I'm not a pattern trader. I won't go into the whole spiel. But yeah, I'm not a pattern trader. But for what it's worth, I mean, locally, no, I don't see a head and shoulders here. Um, yeah, I don't see head and shoulders here. Shout out to Kodak. Kodak says, Frankie, I do not buy it. Play the range until the end. Everything else, deviation. Do not let it be devastation. Shout out to Kodak. I almost said Kodak Black. Yeah, that's always my thought process, right? Like, to me, overall, like, I never get super overexcited. Like, I know we have the low volume gap above. I know we have money flow crossing into the green. But again, for me, I'm not, oh my God, this is it. We have to break out. We have to. No, right? This is going to be a deviation above the high until proven otherwise. Right now, of course, I can have a little bit of a bias for the money flow continuing into the green, of course. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, right? Break back down into the range, cannot get back out. Essentially, the plan to go down to the POC and the value area low is open. Absolutely. That is the main backbone of my trading strategy, right? Like here, we had an opportunity to break out into the low volume gap to 80K. Does that mean that I did not take the short up here and make a ton of money on the way down? I totally did, right? Up here, had an opportunity to break into the low volume gap, go to 80K, still took the short here, back down, fill the range in full, right? We have another opportunity, especially if we come to tap 74K. In my opinion, I think this approach at 74K, if we can get it, is going to be higher probability for a breakout just because the money flow and the fact that this level has been tested multiple times. So, you know, again, low, high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. I guess you could argue that that's broken, but still, you know, could look good for a continued trend. But again, right, I'm still going to be taking shots at those shorts. At the end of the day, if that short gets stopped out, my long will continue to cook. So, you know, again, right, like maybe a little bit of a better opportunity because we now have money flow crossing into the green, which we did not have here, So maybe if we get that second test, finally we can get the breakout. That would make sense money flow wise. But of course, I am holding the short, right? So if that short ends up, you know, if the top is in right now and we end up getting the big breakdown, I'm covered. I'll stop out of the long and profit and let the short cook. And then at that point, guys, I just want the breakdown. I really just want the breakdown. I don't want to have to range around in here for any longer. It's absolutely brutal. I think he was referencing the high time frame with a double bottom, Adam and Eve. Like an inverted head and shoulders? Not really. Maybe you have Adam Eve. Again, not something I look at really. It's really just a way to describe the shape of the price action. Yeah, I don't know. But then you have this, so it's like, yeah, I don't know. I mean, your shoulders are higher than your head, so that would be kind of weird. But yeah, I don't know. I don't personally see the inverted head and shoulders here. But again, I'm not a pattern trader, right? Like maybe this is some kind of variation of a head and shoulders. I don't know. I'm just not a pattern trader. CME gap at 67.5. I'll just mark that out here. You know, we'll see. We'll cross that bridge if and when we get there. I mean, it is on the golden pocket. Technically, locally here, I mean, if you can hold on top of this, that golden pocket 786 could be an area to look for a bounce. But I never really look at CME gap saying you have to go fill that. They do obviously more often fill than they do. More of them fill than they don't. More fill than don't fill. Where is this? 69.6. Wick to 69.7. Yeah, I'd be more interested in something like this, right? Come fill that RTH gap and then see if you can get the continuation up. Again, right on that key level that we talked about. Whoops. Right? Come fill the single prints, tap into the CME gap, then send it back up. And then, yeah, once we lose that, yeah, I mean, it is there. It is there. I would have been more interested in that to fill when we were down there, though. Speaking of CME gaps, we have one sitting at 76 to 86. Yeah, I look at these if they're confluent with key levels, right? I never use CME gaps as like really a prediction on where price will go, and the simple reason for that is because you don't have to fill them right then. So, you know, if I look at the chart and I have a weekly, monthly, daily, 2 MPOCs, right? If I have a lot of confluence in a certain level and there's a CME gap and I'm waiting for that level to get tapped, to be like, oh, that makes sense, fill the CME gap. It's not something I look at to like predict where price will go, if that makes sense. Yes, is 15-minute money flow ever going to come out? Is it still just bing bonging? Oh, yeah, it's coming. It's coming down. We'll see. You still got 18 minutes left on the 4-hour red dot. I mean, I don't know if you're going to get it to cross over in time. But again, it doesn't always have to be like on the dot happening at the same time. I prefer to see the crossover during the printing of that 4-hour red dot. But, you know, if the 4-hour red dot confirms, then like 2 minutes later you cross over into the red on the 15-minute, you know, it wouldn't be that bad. Shout out to Zoltan says, how is this bear market trading compared to last summer's bull? Or last summer bull? I skipped a year of crypto, just spotted. Shout out to Zoltan. I don't know exactly what you mean by that. Yeah, I don't know exactly what you mean by that. Shout out to V-Troll said, Frankie, can you go over the confirmations you look for to open or avoid a bad trade? I often see setups forming, but rarely trade them because when I see confirmation, I'm front-running after the fact. Shout out to V-Troll. We really teach that more in the premium Discord. I have some, watch through the beginner series. I talk about some of the entry confirmations that I like to look for. SFP, bullish divergences, they're all contextual. I'm not always going to be looking for an SFP. I'm not always going to be looking for a divergence. But check out the beginner series. I'm bored. This range is killing me. Shout out to Genius. Tell me about it, bro. Tell me about it. It's terrible for content. At least for like being like, oh my God, big move incoming. But yeah, I mean, it's not bad for trading. It's just, I mean, we're talking about all the same stuff that we talked about all in here. It's all been the same. So super brutal. Now short, I wouldn't necessarily say that. I'm going to tell you where to enter a trade. I'm in the trade from the my trade I'm holding is from the SFP on the 1 hour from last night. Yeah, shout out to Lou. Yeah, terrible for content, easier for trades. Yeah, not yeah. I for me personally, right? Because I like to trade the volume profile, so ranging context is nice. But yeah, it's like terrible. It's like, all right, update on the higher time frames, guys. Still ranging. It's just like there's just no big update there on the high time frames. And then it's like you go lower time frame, and there's a lot of new people in the YouTube live streams, and they get super confused when you look at the all the local levels. They don't understand context, so it's like, I don't know, it just makes for garbage, boring, just repetitiveness. Is this range worse than the November to January from last year? It's getting pretty dang close. I mean, it's like almost. I would say it's pretty much the same at this point. Right, timing wise, as far as being in the range for, we're here. Pretty much the same amount of time. So yeah, I would say like pretty equally. I hated this range only because, again, it was just very repetitive, and I hate this range. I just wanted like something new to talk about. Right? There's no point in me talking about 200K or 30K. I mean, I guess unless we're talking about like the path for a brutal bear market, it's just like there's no reason to talk about any of that stuff while we're just chopping sideways. For me, it's not easy. I'm scared of a stop hunt. Shout out to Zoltan. Trade the SFP. Trade the SFP if you're not if you don't want to worry about the stop hunts. I mean, for me, I traded the SFP. I mean, honestly, if you took a trade here on the SFP, you're probably not stopped out. You like barely, because your invalidation is going to be above that wick. But, unless you were like directly above that wick. But for me personally, this stop loss is much wider for me because it's above the 786 personally. In the world of crypto, what are you most afraid of? Shout out to Genius. The world of crypto, what am I most afraid of? I don't know. I'm not really afraid of anything. Probably clicking links and scanning QR codes. Like, I do not click links. I do not scan QR codes. It's just like a hard rule that I have. Like, literally, I go out with Mrs. Candles to a restaurant. They have a QR code on the table to scan the menu. I won't scan it. I make her scan it with her phone. I read her phone. So probably links and QR codes. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, as far as like the market going to zero, Bitcoin going to zero, I don't know. Maybe quantum computers, but you talk to people who know a lot about quantum computing, and they say we're much farther away from that being sustainable than a lot of people think. So I don't know. Oh yes, links. Oh man, yeah. I just don't do it. I mean, yeah. For the most part, to be honest, like if anybody was here in my daily life, they'd probably be like, "Dude, you're a psychopath. Click the dang link. Your mother sent you that link." But it's it's just yeah. I don't know. I just don't do it. I've been very. I've never clicked any malicious links. I've never scanned any malicious QR codes, but I hear so many horror stories. I just don't bother. Like I love, people with, you go to a Bitcoin conference, everyone's got their QR code, buy now, scan the QR. I'm not saying they're scams, but I'll like, you won't catch me dead at a Bitcoin conference scanning a QR code. That is crazy. Yeah, I'm a OCD like that as well because my phone isn't sandboxed. Yeah, won't be me. Let's see. Premium assets still unlockable by signing up with the referrals for Femex and Blowfin. So it's not the premium Discord. It is the dining room, which is this is kind of like a free trial to the premium Discord. We drop like one post a week from the premium. Sometimes they're trade setups. Sometimes they're general TA updates. A lot of times they are setups. But yeah, so you get one post per week. Obviously, I'm in the premium Discord 5 days a week. So this is just to get you like a taste of the premium. If you want to see kind of what the posts are like, what it's like when we put out setups. Obviously, post every day, so you'll get it once a week just to get a little bit of a taste. So if you want to get a free trial of the premium Discord, you can come to the join the free Discord, come to the dining room, go to unlock access. If you sign up with our links for Femex, Blowfin, or MEXC, you'll get infinite access to that. You're not going to get kicked out at any point. So there's no time limit on it or anything, so you guys can come here. Just read through the directions, and you'll see how to get access. Essentially, you just have to sign up with our affiliate links, click whatever exchange you're on, and then jump into your drop your user ID. So there you go. And if you want it every day, you could join the premium. Shout out to Dave Digital. Welcome in. Says, new goal, get Frankie Candles to scan my QR code at the Bitcoin conference. I won't even have my real phone at the Bitcoin conference. So I'll scan it on my dummy phone. Shout out to Dave. Tony said, dropped some sauce in there today. Shout out to Tony. Let's go. I scrolled up as I went in there to not reveal. That's super cool. Shout out to You Grow, I Grow. Yeah, if you want to have a free trial, I assume you're talking about the dining room. Come check it out. If quantum computers can break Bitcoin, it can also help protect Bitcoin security. Just saying, yeah, I'm not a quantum computing expert. So, again, it's, not my expertise. But, I mean, I don't know. There's just been so many doomsday ideas about Bitcoin that just, they're going to ban Bitcoin, right? China banned Bitcoin like 11 times. It just doesn't matter. Maybe one day it goes to zero. I'm not in that camp. I'm in the long-term belief that the Bitcoin chart, over the long term, not financial advice, but this is my personal belief. If you understand Bitcoin, if you understand the fundamentals, if you understand why it is so valuable, pull up the Bitstamp chart. I do believe Bitcoin will continue to go up and to the right. Will there be volatility to the downside? Yes. Right? There's always volatility to the downside. Always volatility to the downside. Always volatility. Over time, guys, I do expect Bitcoin to trend up over time. It's going to hit $259,174,679 by next Tuesday at 6:54 p.m. Don't miss the boat. Buy your Bitcoin now. Not financial advice. Smash the like button. So there you go, guys. Very nice to get that value area high tapped, finally. A lot of people are probably like, man, is it really going to fill? Well, there it is. Fulfill the volume profile. If you just tuned in, scrub back to the beginning of the stream to understand where we will be looking. Let me turn this candle off. I'm starting to get a headache. Yes, guys. We do burn actual candles on the Frankie Candles live stream. It's burning my fingers right now. Ow, 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 ow. That's really hot. Good Lord. But scrub back to the beginning of the stream to get the key levels. Essentially, guys, if we get the acceptance back into the range, we can get the pullback. Going to be looking at that local key level again. Scrub back to get the exact levels. And then we'll see. Are we going to get the failed auction for another full rotation? Or is that money flow, as of right now, looking very good, going to give us the higher lows and the continue higher highs? The biggest level above us is $74,000. To keep it nice and simple, I would just look at the Fibonacci retracement. If we're going to get the rejection, in my opinion, this is the place. I'm holding the short. Once we break above the 786 anchored VWAP, we flip this to support. I think that's where you get the bigger breakout towards 80K. Same plan. Essentially for this breakout, the only difference here is we do have daily money flow finally coming into the green. If it fakes out, we'll have the short, and we'll just continue to make money inside this boring range. So there you go, guys. That's what I'm looking at. Thank you all for tuning in. That's all the time we got for today's live stream. I got somewhere to be, actually. What time is it? 3:52. I got to hop off, but shout out to the Mafia. Thank you guys for being here. Peace, fam. Not a cult, though. Shout out to Lyndon. Yes, we are a mafia, but not a cult. I know we worship candles and goats, but it's not a cult. Hashtag not a cult in the chat if you understand that. But thank you for being here. Shout out to Zach. Shout out to the Dusty Hunt. Biddy to the moon. Shout out to Kodak. Shout out to Dave Digital. Shout out to Tony D. Shout out to Zine. I don't know if that's your full name. Shout out to Lou. Shout out to Oliver. And last but not least, shout out to Josh. Thank you guys for being here. I'll see you tomorrow, hopefully at higher prices. But as you guys know, we'll make money either way. But hopefully we're at higher prices. We'll root for higher prices just because we want Bitcoin to go up. Come on. But yeah, watch that money flow. Watch those key levels. I'll see you guys tomorrow. It's all the time I got for today's live stream. Hasta pasta. Frankie Candles out. Bing bong.
Here we go. At the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Ayy, on the road, here we go. Yeah, we winning by a landslide. Never see me coming, I'm a landmine. Yeah, I ain't taking orders in command, like. Yeah, you about to see me on demand, like. You know, on demand. If you ain't know, you about to understand. Yeah, I got the team by my side, right hand. Yeah, take it to a extreme, you ain't seen it like that. Yeah, and it's the dream, and we coming for the bag. Yeah, and we ain't never going back now. Future expedited, now we on the fast track now. They won't lend a hand, now they see us on the map now. It's time to act out. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Hey, on the road, here we go, yeah. At the top of the class on a roll. Hey, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know, yeah. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Yeah, on the road, here we go, here we go. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Hey, on the road, here we go, yeah. At the top of the class on a roll. Hey, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know, yeah. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Yeah, on the road, here we go, here we go. Here we go. On the road.